Hello, everyone. How are we today? Hope you're all doing well out there. I just want to give Sarah P a taste of all medicine about starting later. But it's all good. We're here now. How are we, everybody? First today, Rhonda. You're always first in my heart, Rhonda, as always. Hope you're doing well. Bad Dads, and thank you for all the pictures you sent me. I said to you, I sent you a message back saying I did try and follow her, so we'll see if she accepts. But Bad Dads is great at sending pictures to boost your day. There you go. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining. Please hit the like on the way in or dislike. They're both engagement, but I prefer the like, obviously. Subscribe and hit that notification bell on the way in. Thank you, everybody. If you'd like to support the channel, on a serious note, I know I don't promote myself, but if you do like to promote, though, if you do like to support, not promote, I'm supposed to promote, but if you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do is PayPal or buy me a coffee. Specifically, if you're in America, buy me a coffee, because PayPal takes 10% and buy me coffee takes, I think, 6%. So it's a little bit better. But anyway, any contributions always greatly received. Thank you, everybody. Hello, Sarah P. Right. Lady Di, good morning to you, my darling. Hope you're well today. Going to be jumping out in a bit for but I'll be listening later. No worries. See you in a little bit. Rhonda, good luck to you, my darling. Hey, Dave, how are you? I'm literally just finishing off a video. It's like a 4 or 5 minute video about Houston Texans. So I lost track of time. I just got a little bit left to edit, which I'll do once I start the stream and the video, and then I'll get it out for you, Dave. So, how is you, Bex? Hello, cutie potato patooties. Hello, cutie patooties. Anderlan. Yeah, I'm not going to ask any questions. If the Lamb were an engine, he'd be a 4-cylinder 3SFE making 100 horsepower at least. He's a Yamaha engineer Toyota engine. I have no idea what any of that means, Jonathan. But knowing you, I'm not sure whether to thank you or to say what the fuck. There you go. I think I got everybody. Hello, Sherry Berry. You made me smile, Sherry Berry, about your mother-in-law. That's amazing. That's amazing. Hello to your mother-in-law and to your daughter and to the whole family, Sherry Berry. Nice to see you, my darling, as always. Oh, so we are here. Today's going to be a short day. It's going to be a short day today. It's not going to be a long day because they cut court early yesterday. So yeah, there we go. I don't know how Dylan doesn't know what a cutie patootie is. Never heard of it. Cutie patootie. But you are a weirdo. You're growing on it, Dylan. Good. I'm glad, Sherry Berry. She can see past the potty mouth. I've been doing well. I've not been swearing either. So, well, not much anyway. So, yeah, hope you and the fam are doing well, my darling. Have I got everybody? Remember, ladies, flush Friday. Yes, it's a great day, Badaza. Morning, sir. It's going to be 80 Fahrenheit today. Oof. It's not that warm here. It's nice, though. Good morning. She can never read this chat. Good. Otherwise, she would be like, Sherry, get off that YouTube place. I always say cutie patootie. I've never heard, I don't think I've heard of it. I've maybe heard another version of that. Maybe another version of it. Spring equinox. Well, now, let me get this up for you. Not that way, ladies. Behave. Right. Day 2. So just remember, we are playing it from behind because all you ladies tell me that you prefer it from behind. So We'll take you from behind like you like to take you from behind. So we'll do it this way then. So this is day 2 of the trial. And just a reminder that day 3 we'll have on Monday. Let me just share this and then. Okay, let me close that. I'll bring it down for a second. You just need a little bit of adjustments to it. So on Monday we'll play day 3. As a reminder, I know a lot of you will be going to watch Kelsey Fitzsimmons, which is absolutely fantastical. So just come back afterwards, after the stream and watch it on replay. So if you don't want to watch it, if you want to watch Kelsey live, come back afterwards and just watch it on replay, watch it on 1.5 or something. Just remember, because we're doing a day behind, so do it that way. Or vice versa. Watch it here and then go and watch it. Well, personally, I would watch it here live and then go over to watch Kelsey afterwards and skip all the breaks. Do you know what I mean? But that's up to you guys what you want to do. But I do appreciate that a lot of you will be watching that. I am not showing it because so many people are showing it anyway. Good luck to her. And obviously, there's another trial going on in Massachusetts with other content creators as well, if you want to watch that. But we're here. I'm not sure how long this is going to last for. I think so. My plan is, because next week, my sister and her fiance and my eldest niece are going to Germany for the week. So my parents are looking after the children, but obviously I have to chip in. So I'm taking the kids to school every morning and I'm picking them up every night. So I will have a stream running. So there will be like an hour every day where I won't be here, but the stream will still run. Do you know what I mean? So just to explain that. On Tuesday, I have a dentist appointment. I should be back in time. It's a 2-in-1 deal. It's at 9:45 my time, but my mother's at 10:45, so she should be done by 11:15. We should be home by 1 o'clock. And just to tell you what 1 o'clock is, 1 o'clock is 9 o'clock Eastern. So it'll be nip and tuck if I'm back in time or not. I might be a little bit late. And if that's the case, then be patient with me. But I'll tell you that again on Monday to remind you. But yeah, on I think that you lived in Germany. There you go. Yeah, it's my eldest niece. It's her birthday on, what's it today? It's her birthday on I think on Wednesday, 25th. So they go in actually Wednesday morning. Hello, Katie. And yeah, so that's her birthday present. My sister wants to go as well. So as I say, my parents have to look after them, but I have to chip in, obviously, and which I love doing anyway. So they will be around for the week. So yeah, I might be in and out of the stream from Tuesday onwards. Well, I'll be here most of it, but I'm going to have to go and collect the children at 4 o'clock my time, which is midday your time. So yeah, anyway, doesn't matter. It's all trivial, but essentially, I'm looking forward to it, even though it's going to be a tough week because 3 girls aged 15, 13, and 6, I think now she is. Yeah, 6 actually, just turned 6. So you can see from that age, 15, 13, and 6, there may be trouble ahead. So yeah, but I am looking forward to it. But we won't tell them that. So right, let's get into it on this one. There. So right. Fast forward until the judge comes in. I'm not sure where the judge
cover is over the bullet or the.
Oops, that was a bit too. I went too far there. Sorry, lady, I went a bit too quick there for you.
Lead.
No, they're not sweet. They are the eldest. She's fine. Second one, she's a real brat. But she's real teenager. She twists everyone, like she twists me around her little finger all the time. Third one, she's quiet, but she's good. And then the final one, obviously 6-year-old, she's just, she's at that great age at the minute. So, but yeah, I mean, just imagine the hard work. So I got a chat full of women, and then have to deal with soon-to-be women as well. So fuck my life. So quick on that though.
Please be seated. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
We'll
Judge.
continue with examination of the witness from yesterday.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing I want to talk to you about is your work.
Hello, lovely. Hope to see you. Nice to see you, my darling. You are not the joy, for sure. Girls are Bex. I have one of each and would have a football team of boys. Yes, that's true.
At the hospital on the night of the shooting on March 8th, okay?
Okay.
You went to the hospital with the deceased's body, in essence, right? And collected some items from his person.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things that you collected was a set of keys.
Yes, sir.
First witness?
Yes, sir.
Show me the defendant's too.
Yes.
Is this the photograph you took of the keys?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm a tender defendant's too.
No judge.
2 is admitted. Thank you.
Commissioner Public?
Yes.
You can see it here. Let me see if I can zoom in some. At the tail end of the keys, we see the Kia emblem, if you will.
On the key fob. Yes.
On the key fob, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Okay. On the key fob, you see the words Kia.
Yes.
Okay. When you got to, now we're going to the residence now, okay, 4238, okay?
Yes.
When you got to the residence 4238, there were 2 vehicles there.
Yes, sir.
One of them was a Porsche
Yes.
and one was a Kia.
Correct.
And your understanding, of course, is the Kia was owned by Mr. Barron.
Didn't run a search on them, but I understand that that was his vehicle. Yes.
Okay. The next day, you went back to 4238 to take photographs.
Yes.
In other words, the night's over, you've gone back, it's daytime, and you're at 4238 to gather more evidence, take photographs, things like that.
Right.
And at this point, there's only one car that's still there, correct? The Porsche.
Yes.
Okay. Kia's gone, Porsche is still there.
Yes.
You didn't make any, and I don't think you did, I'm not trying to trick you or anything, you didn't make any investigation into the operability of the Porsche.
No.
Okay. In other words, whether it would run.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Something else that was in Mr. Barron's pockets that you collected was his cell phone.
Yes.
And can you, I think this one might be it, right?
Yes, that's my understanding. That's the one that came from the hospital. The one from the scene had a blue case.
Right. There were, in this case, there's 2 different cell phones involved, right?
Right.
One has, can I publish 179? Sorry, well, 30.
Yes.
This is states 179, and I'm going to back up now if I can do it. Let me turn it in a better way here. States 179 is Mr. Barron's cell phone that you collected at the hospital on the night of March 8th.
Yes, it came from the hospital with his possessions.
And it has this kind of, I don't know, what we'll call that, maybe tan or clear kind of case on it.
Yes.
Now, the next, well, let me make totally clear about this. There's the other cell phone that's involved is Miss Mericle's cell phone.
Yeah, I didn't actually run anything on the cell phones. I've got 2 cell phones I collected. The one that we're looking at in this photograph came from the hospital. The one that was in the blue case came from the scene.
Right. And it came from a very specific place in the scene. Approach witness. Showing you States Exhibit 96.
Yes, sir.
And may I publish, Judge?
Yes.
Sorry. on States 96, we're looking at the blue cell phone. You don't attribute that to Miss Mericle, but the blue cell phone that's at the top of the stairs right outside the room where the shooting happened.
Yes.
And approach the witness, Judge.
Yes.
Showing you States Exhibit 99.
Okay.
That's your lab photo of the
Same phone, yes.
In other words, not the night of, but later photo that you took of the phone. That published 99?
Yes.
Turn it some so you guys won't have to look sideways. Like some cell phones have notifications you can give yourself to do certain things, timers that you build into your calendar and things like that, right?
Yes.
And we've got two kind of pop-ups on the blue phone. One of them is a push-ups notification, and the other one's something about squats.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I want to talk to you about the two different types of rounds or bullets. I'm going to use the word bullets, but the correct word is rounds, right?
Whichever one you want to use.
All right. Which one would you prefer?
It depends on what you're talking about.
The whole thing.
The whole thing I'll refer to as a round. You can refer to it as a bullet.
A round meaning the whole thing. It means the shell, which is the outer casing.
The casing.
The bullet, which is inside of the actual casing.
Correct.
And then whatever the cover is over the bullet or the lead, whatever the casing over that is.
The jackets, yes.
The jacket, okay. And in this case, we have two different types, right?
Correct.
One of the types is the type that was in Mr. Barron's Beretta.
Correct.
And you've referred to that as a Hornady.
Hornady, yeah.
Hornady. It's the brand.
It's a brand name, yes.
It's a brand name, but it's a style of bullet. It's a style of round,
The
type of round.
type of round, yes. I mean, you've got the Hornady, which was a hollow point round.
Okay. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same sheet of music about what that means, okay?
Okay.
So you've got Hornady, which is a brand, but it is a hollow point round.
The rounds in the, yes. I mean, Hornady makes multiple rounds, but what we're looking at in this one is a hollow point round.
This one,
Yes.
we're talking about hollow points. And it is and was associated with the Beretta.
Correct.
The Beretta is not the gun that ended up ending Mr. Barron's life.
Correct.
The other type of round that we have in this case is a Jag.
The brand is Jag, yes, sir.
It's a Jag brand, but it is a full metal jacket.
It's a full metal jacket. And I don't want to get real picky with the Jag. When I was trying to research, Jag is just a manufacturer. It's not necessarily coming back to a specific brand. That brass can be manufactured for multiple different companies.
Is this sort of a cheaper bullet, if you will?
I'm not sure. I didn't locate any Jag ammunition to.
But generally, a hollow point's a more expensive round to buy than a full metal jacket.
Yes,
People use full metal jackets for things like target practice.
correct.
In other words, if you go to the range, that's what target practice means, right?
Correct.
This is not writing. This, the Jag round, the full metal jacket round, the target practice round, is inside of the Glock,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And there's really no question here about how many shots were fired from the 9mm Glock pistol, correct?
Correct.
We've got one shot.
One round that was recovered, yes.
One round that's recovered, and one round, as far as you know, you don't have evidence of that 9mm being shot any other place. Is that
No.
correct? Okay. This is the shot that came from this full metal jacket round and went through this door then through, showing you States 5. It's already admitted, judgment published.
Yes.
This is the round that went through here. I'm trying to get this thing closer if I can. Let me back up. Through the door, through the wall edge there, and then eventually struck Mr. Barron.
Yes.
If that shot had been shot with a hollow point bullet, gone through that door, then through that wall, we're talking about a different type of an impact. Fair guess.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly may not even have killed Mr. Barron.
It depends on how well the bullet actually stayed intact. The hollow point is designed to expand and open up, where the round full metal jacket is designed to go just straight through.
Exactly. And you can't recreate this and come up with, a certainty here. But the fact of the matter is, if this had been a hollow point, it may not have killed Mr. Barron. You don't disagree with that?
It could have, because it's a hollow point, it could have expanded out when it went through the wall and went through the door, and it could have had a different velocity on impact. So
now, we know, again, that this Glock shot one shot, right?
yes.
Question is, how many shots came from this Beretta? That's what I want to talk to you about, okay?
Okay.
Now, correct me if I am wrong, but I think you said yesterday that you think there were 3 shots from the Beretta.
Yes.
Okay. One of the shots, the shell, was actually still stuck in the barrel of the Beretta.
Still in the chamber, yes.
It was still in the chamber.
Yes.
And when you got there, you are dealing with that firearm and you discover you've got a firearm with the shell still inside of the barrel.
Chamber, yes.
The chamber. Okay, thank you. There's a shell still inside the chamber. We know that that shot was shot, obviously, because it doesn't have its bullet.
Doesn't have the projectile, the missile, yes.
Doesn't have the projectile.
It's a fired round.
It's a fired round. For sure, that was fired. It's still stuck in the gun.
Yes.
And we think, based upon your review of the scene, that you've got 2 more shots.
Yes.
Okay. And whoever fired those 3 shots, whoever fired those would presumably know how many shots they fired. True?
Yes.
It's been proposed that Ms. Mericle was staging the scene by firing these shots. You understand that that's being
Yes.
suggested? If she's staging the scene to make it look like Mr. Barron has fired at her 3 times, why does she tell the police that he shot once?
I'm objecting.
I'm
That
not-
calls for speculation as to what was on the defendant's mind and not, maybe it can be rephrased, but I don't think that's the appropriate form of that question.
Are you aware how many times she said?
Okay, so I'll sustain the objection. You can go at it another way.
Are you aware how many times she said Mr. Barron shot at her?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I want to talk to you now about the unfortunate shot that took Mr. Barron's life, the one that was fired through that door. Okay?
Okay.
You made and undertook an investigation to try to find out exactly how far away, as best you could, the barrel of her gun was at the time the shot was fired.
Yes, a general.
And again, I know you're not telling these folks it was 6 inches. You're saying that's the range. That's where I think it was.
Right.
It could be further than 6 inches, could be shorter.
Yes.
Okay. But 6 inches is your guess, your best guess.
Yes.
What you did was you went to your lab, which I'm calling it your lab, but you did this outside.
Yes.
You fired some test shots from 2 different ranges.
Yes.
One of them was from 3 inches away and one of them was from 6 inches.
Correct.
And you'd agree with me, you never did a test fire beyond 6 inches.
No, not with this.
May I approach the witness, Judge?
Yes.
What number are we on? G3. Thank you. Showing you that it's 3.
Yes, sir.
You recognize that?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what it is basically?
This is a photograph of the test shots. You can see the 6-inch labeling down at the bottom. It's been fired into a door panel as well.
Gotcha. Does it fairly and accurately represent the photo you took of the 6-inch test fire in this case?
Yes.
Tender and defendants 3? Hand that to you.
No objection.
Admitted.
Defendants 3. May I publish, Judge?
Yes.
There's two things that come out before I publish this. There's two things besides the bullet, besides the projectile, there's two things that are coming out in front of the barrel when you fire a shot from a gun like this. Two types of substances. Let me help you with that.
You're gonna have the projectile that's gonna come forth, and you're also gonna have the residue, the stippling that we talked about yesterday, powder residue and stippling. Yes.
So it's powder residue, which is, it's unburned material that comes out along with the bullet.
The stippling,
The stippling's burning.
stippling powder is, well, I mean, it's burning as well. You get the powder residue, but you have the stippling that will impact and stay where the powder does not.
Gotcha. Would you agree with the characterization that it's two different substances, or is it the same substance, one of them burns?
I just saw your question there that it was in the bedroom, but in the ensuite is how I read it. So they were in the bedroom, but I presume then it's an ensuite bedroom. So you posh people probably know more. So within the bedroom there would be a bathroom, and that's where I believe it happened. It's how I've interpreted it. Anyway, hello Dana, hope you're doing well.
Leaves a stippling burning into the material, and the other one's just powder.
I would say it's just powder where the stippling is.
Is it the same substance? It's just one's burning and one's not, or they're both burning?
One is fired, I mean, it's burned.
Okay.
The stippling is more particles that have still remain intact, where the powder is disintegrated, I guess you could say.
It's powder is a good word. That's why we use the word
Right.
powder. Let me show you Defendant's Exhibit 3. When we look at Defendant's 3, look at that pointer, I'm sorry. That's right there. Where you've notated, can you all hear me? Where you've notated 6 with the open.
6-inch mark, yes.
The two dashes that we commonly call inches. That's just your notation. This is a 6-inch away shot that you made.
Right.
And what we see here is, in addition to the stippling that you testified about yesterday, is powder.
Correct.
And it's even in like a little fan. It kind of fans out because the bullet comes out.
It's twisting, it's turning in a,
It's twisting just like the projectile. And so we get this powder that, if you're close enough, you're going to have powder in addition to stippling.
yes.
And this is a dark surface because you were trying to recreate the door here.
Right.
The door here is a black door,
Dark black, yes.
a dark, yeah, I'll call it black.
Charcoal black, yes.
Okay. And the paint that you used on your test door is the same, as close as you can get.
It's close.
Okay. And it left this white twisty powder all over the outside of the door, all over the outside.
Around the test fire area, yes.
And when you came and took photos of the scene of 4238, States 59 has already been published. Is that public? It's already been tendered. Is that public?
Yes.
Do it like that. The photos from the scene from that night, these are taken that night.
Yes.
That door, you would agree, does not have any of that powder that twists and would indicate the powder flew out and stuck to the door.
Correct.
Now,
But
and
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
What you're looking at, the stippling, the reason we're looking at the stippling instead of the powder burn is the powder is not going to impact and stay on the door. The stippling is actually going to impact, this is what you're seeing around the entrance there, the little pricks, the little impact points. Those we're looking at because they'll stay. Powder is, like we discussed, is powder.
Powder.
It's going to fall off, it's going to dissipate. And even with the impacts to the door, I would imagine that you could easily hit it and wipe away the powder versus where the stippling is going to stay in place.
In other words, you believe the reason we don't see any of this powder is because this door was struck with a hammer in these other places.
It was struck and it was also pushed in, but the photographs with the powder that are around the demonstration that we did, those were taken within just a few minutes, where the photos were taken here after time had elapsed. So, I mean,
Sure, time had elapsed, but this is powder that was fired at this door on this night.
yes,
And you weren't there, the next day and taking these pictures. This is the night of.
the morning of or after, yeah, it's early morning, so it was a few hours, but yes.
And you know what time it was you got on scene? Can you check?
The warrant was signed, or we were informed at 3:45 in the morning. Originally, I responded before I went to the ER, but the time that the search warrant was signed, we went into the house at 3:45.
3:45 a.m. If the shooting happened at between 1:06 and 1:10 a.m., that's about, 3 hours?
3 hours or so.
That sort of leads me into my next area that I want to talk to you about, okay? When you are doing your work as a crime scene investigator, the integrity of the crime scene is very important to you.
Yes,
You want to make sure that it hasn't been tampered with.
yes,
You want to make sure it hasn't been contaminated.
correct.
You wouldn't want, if you had all the power in the world, which I know you don't, right? But you wouldn't want people traipsing in and out of the crime scene. True?
True.
The goal is to have this crime scene be as pure as you can possibly get.
Correct.
And what's going on in that room where the shooting took place before you get there is important to you.
Yes,
And who's been in there and what they've been doing, you'd want to know that.
right.
And you knew by the time you got to the crime scene on March the 8th at 3:45. You got that right?
Second time, yes.
Second time. Well, I guess let's go to the first time. Even by the time you got there the first time, what you said was, what time?
It was earlier than that. Let's see. I believe it was around 2 when I got to, or just after 2 when I got to the hospital. When I drove by there, I just drove by and realized we didn't have the search warrant yet, so I went to the hospital instead. So,
And at this point, as you know, if you're going to the hospital, Mr. Barron's body's already been taken out of there.
correct.
And showing you State's Exhibit 49 that was previously offered and published.
Yes.
What you knew is that at least 3 or 4 folks from fire EMS had been up into that room in addition to the 2 deputies that had already been in there.
Correct.
They had opened up this patient transporter by Curaplex, right?
Right.
The instructions apparently got left behind and somehow a bullet got on top of it, or a bullet got on top of the instructions.
Yes.
And just looking at what this thing is, this patient transporter, it appears to be some sort of a supporting bottom to it and some sort of a vinyl maybe cover to set the body on.
Right.
Did you undertake to watch the body camera of the police officers who were close enough to see Mr. Barron's body being carried out of the room and down the stairs and out.
I didn't see the full body cam where they were carrying or working on him or carrying him down, though.
Are you aware that there is body camera of him being carried out of that room and down the stairs?
Yes.
Okay. Do you disagree that on that body camera, there's again about 4 EMS folks, they've got him on this contraption and they're just walking him right down those stairs, those 2 landings of stairs and on their way out?
I don't object to it because Sergeant Durham hasn't seen the body cam.
And I'd be happy to show it to him.
I apologize. I'm a little confused. I thought he said he was aware.
He did say he was aware.
I mean, I'm aware. I didn't see the full body cam. I didn't see the people taking them out. I'm aware as a crime scene person, when you get to the scene, you're going to have officers clearing the scene. You're going to have fire and EMS that are there working them. So I'm aware that they're there and they're doing that. I believe I even mentioned there's a blood smear on the wall that was more consistent with them carrying the body out as leaving the smear as to any kind of really relevant.
Fair point. All right. Without commenting on the evidence, I mean, if he knows, great. If not, I mean, it sounds like standard operating procedure. So as of the state's objection, that's sustained, but you can go about another way.
Give me 2 seconds to do this work. Gotta find that body cam video. It's There are spots of blood on the stairs. I'm going to show you. States 29 and 30. Approach witness, right?
Yes.
He's been previously admitted.
Yes.
May I publish these, Joe?
Yes.
Showing you 30. What we can see here on 30 is spots here, here, there,
Blood drops, yes, sir.
blood drops. And these are the type of blood drops you talked about before. They're passive, right?
More of a passive, yes, a straight down drop.
They're straight down drops, and we know they're straight down drops because they're circular.
Correct.
They don't have a tail on them one way or another.
Right.
Okay. And these are consistent with, well, of course, first of all, this is the path that Mr. Barron's body was carried out, landing to landing and out of the home.
Yes.
And it's not an enclosed, he wasn't placed in a body bag. He wasn't encased by something.
No, they are, from my understanding, EMS worked him at the scene, so he's being treated.
He's being treated. And your understanding was he still had some sort of a discernible pulse when they got here. Did you know
No, I mean, they're working him, so I'm assuming.
that? Okay. In other words, they didn't arrive and go, okay, he's deceased, we can't.
They didn't just leave him. They did take the body and take him in for treatment. So I'm not sure what they had at the time, indications or whatever.
And you wouldn't disagree with me to say the source of these is likely the body being carried out down the stairs.
No, I'm not going to disagree with it. I mean, it's very probable it was.
When we look at states 45, if the judge said this,
Yes.
in states 45, we can see here's the little instructions for the carrying item, right?
Correct.
We've got that towel,
Correct.
and there's even blood over here.
Yes.
And we know his body originally was in this position by the time the deputies came in.
Right.
We didn't get to watch how EMS and fire got him onto this contraption and how they got him out of that room. So we just don't know that.
Correct.
We don't know if they had to, he weighed 235 pounds. You're aware of that, right?
No,
We're aware of that?
but
You
I saw the body, so yes, that's,
you don't disagree with 235.
no,
6'3", you don't disagree with that.
no.
Okay. And I know you didn't measure him or anything like that, but, so he's He's in this position originally. Somehow he's turned to get out of there, and several individuals, as far as we understand, load him up and get down the stairs.
Correct.
And we don't know if they loaded him on and spun him initially. Correct?
No, I don't.
You wouldn't know because you didn't see it.
No.
Right. And that's, I'm not putting that on you. I want these folks to know what we know, what we don't. Okay? This bag here was another one of the items that was in the crime scene.
Correct.
And you did inspect that bag, and
The case, yes, it was collected.
and this item here also has blood on it.
The towel?
The bag.
Yes.
The bag had blood, on the bottom of it, on the sides, all that stuff,
Yes.
right?
Well, yes, I had it on the drips that were coming down on the top of it.
Drips on top of the bag as well.
Yes.
Mhm. That passive sort of drip that you sort of identified over here,
Right.
meaning drop down.
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk to you about this holster that we see in 45 in the corner here.
Okay.
Okay? You testified about the holster earlier, so I want to make sure that we're all on the same sheet of music about what you found and what it means. Okay?
Okay.
The holster itself, when you look at it with the naked eye, you can kind of see some blood, but it's not like screaming at you. Is that accurate?
Yes, there's some smearing, it looks like, on a couple of places that you can see, but then you've got darker areas that is harder to see. So
It's sort of like, this door, on the back of this door at the bottom, you can see that that's blood. It's
Yes.
pretty obvious, right? You didn't have a question about that from the start.
no, it's
And the floor.
right.
And also, even that bag, right? The bag itself,
Correct. It's
naked eye versus using a tool, they're two different things.
correct.
And what you noticed after you put the reagent onto the holster is somebody with a bloody hand picked up that holster and probably unclipped it.
Yes.
That's a fair conclusion, right?
Yes.
And we think, obviously, that it happened within this room.
That's fair. Yes.
Fair guess, right?
Yes.
And what we notice when we look at the barefoot prints here in this area is it seems like, let me see if I can get a better picture for you. Let's go with states 43. That goes.
Yes.
Take a look at states 43 at the top. It's like left foot, right foot. You see that?
Yes.
It's like left foot, right up to the edge of the bed there,
Correct.
right? With bare feet.
Yes.
And then turning
Yes.
and heading back over to the place where Mr. Barron's body is.
Right. Yes.
That would be consistent with someone with bare feet walking over to the bed, picking up the holster, unclipping it, taking out the gun, and walking back over to where Mr. Barron was.
Yes.
Shoot. Bless you. One of the things that you were investigating, in addition to blood stuff and holster, was with respect to the Beretta pistol that you think fired 3 different shots.
Yes.
And one of the questions you had was, okay, I've got blood all over this Beretta. I can see that. Anybody can see that, right? Everybody knew that.
Right.
The question was, hey, did somebody take this thing and actually load it, right? Did they put the magazine in after they had blood on their hands and all that? That was a question.
Question. Yeah. It's not necessarily loaded. It was, did the magazine come out? Was it checked? Was it examined?
The question is, though, did somebody actually take the magazine out after they had blood on their hands? That's a question that you had.
Yes.
And you took steps to test any suspect marks on the magazine to say, okay, do we have Mr. Barron's blood or anybody else's blood on this magazine?
Correct.
Because if it's on the magazine, that means the person must have done a whole lot with that gun. Must have, maybe even put the bullets in the top and loaded the thing in and then cocked it, right?
My,
Blood on the magazine.
yeah, my question, what I was thinking more along the lines of with that, because you had the live rounds that were laying on the floor, is if the gun was jamming and it had to be cleared versus loading the magazine.
Okay.
I mean, I know what you're asking, but my question was more, did it ever eject from, handled, and then reinserted versus loading?
Okay.
If that's
The point was you wanted to find out if this magazine ever came out during this whole thing.
right.
And so you tested it. This is not the actual gun. This is a replica, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not pointing this at you guys. You tested the inside magazine. Hey, does this thing have Mr. Barron's blood on it? That was a question you had, so you tested for that.
Yes.
And the answer was no.
Correct.
No blood on the magazine. Correct?
Correct.
You just mentioned something about the jam. Because remember, we've got a shell stuck in the chamber.
Correct.
Right. Once the shell is stuck in the chamber and it doesn't come out when it's fired like it's designed to, and you did some of this yesterday, but I want to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about. When you fire one of these, it's a semi-automatic pistol. When you fire one of these, what it does is the pressure of the shot sends the slide back, right?
Yes.
And it ejects the shell casing. It's
Correct.
functioning properly, right?
Yes.
So you shoot, the thing flies back and throws out a shell casing. With me? That's correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you said this, sometimes it doesn't.
Correct.
Sometimes the shell casing doesn't fly back and get popped out. Sometimes it doesn't fly back, it stays in the chamber.
Correct.
And in this case, that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
Because we found the shell casing still stuck in the chamber.
Correct.
At that point, this gun will no longer fire unless it's clear.
Correct.
And if it's jammed, because there's a shell casing in there, and I'm trying to unjam it, let's say, right? And I put my hand up here on the top of it and do this, I can get my hand caught in there.
Yes. Or on the back, the rear side, yes, you can.
You
Get
used a
caught.
term for it yesterday. Some sort of pinch or something, bite. You called it something bite, you remember that? When you
I'm
get your
trying.
hand caught, you use the term, you don't remember
I mean, you can pinch it, but not, I don't remember
the term.
the term yesterday. I'm sorry.
The point is, if you do this, it's jammed, you can get your hand caught in it, right?
Yes.
And that's what we think happened in this case, right?
Which
That Mr.
injury?
Miracle's hand got jammed in the top of the.
Yes. I mean, I saw a photograph later on. I didn't see the hand. So, I mean, but yeah.
It's okay if this isn't your thing, you're doing the crime scene, you don't have to do that, but did you ever look at the injury that she has to her hand right here and try to match it up and say that's consistent?
No, I didn't.
Okay. If I'm trying to do that, if I've got a jammed gun and I'm trying to get it to unjam, okay? And I've got it all the way up and this far to try to do that, something else is going to happen too, right? Meaning,
Which one I'm trying to see what you're, can I step down and just see?
Absolutely. All right. If I've got it, you can come over here.
Oh, we're blocking the days. Okay.
If I've got it jammed because there's a shell stuck in the chamber,
Okay.
and I'm trying to get it like this, right? And now I've gotten it caught in my hand, for one. But two, if I get it this far back, some of those bullets can start popping out, right?
Yes. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
All right. Let go. When you're talking about the round being, the shell casing still being down in here,
Exactly.
if it tries to feed and doesn't pull the shell casing out, you can have a round that starts to come up out of the magazine.
Exactly.
Just push from the magazine.
And if I keep doing that, I can have bullets that fall out all over the floor.
You can knock a couple off, or you can knock one at a time out as they're feeding. You can.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's what we're.
That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Exactly. And I'm trying to unjam this gun, and I've got bullets, let's say, unspent, unshot bullets. I'm using the word bullets. The whole thing.
That's,
They're coming out. They're falling all over the floor. Possible?
you could, yes, you could have rounds coming out while you're trying to clear the jams.
Everybody's with us, Judge?
Yes.
Showing you defendants 4 and 5. Recognize these?
Yes, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Yes.
These are Mr. Barron at the hospital after he's unfortunately deceased.
Yes.
Okay. They fairly and accurately represent Mr. Barron on March the 8th when he went to the hospital.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Matt Tinder, defendants 4 and 5.
I'm sorry, numbers.
4 and 5.
No objection.
Okay.
I just don't know if you want to cover this.
Don't actually. Are 4 and 5 admitted?
Objection.
I'm sorry,
No objection.
admitted.
May I publish?
Yes.
Now these do depict Mr. Barron's body, so they're, they are the nude body. Okay. Defendants 4. And defendants 5. A couple things I want to ask you about these questions, about these pictures, okay?
Okay.
One of them is about his genital area, for lack of a better term. Okay?
Okay.
You would agree with me that his genitals appear to be shaved or have had the hair removed from them from some means.
Yes, I mean, they're clear.
And do you have any information about how that took place with respect to Mr. Barron?
No, sir, I don't.
The other thing I want to ask you about is his hands.
Yes.
Here we see that they have evidence bags around them,
Yes, sir.
and that was done by you.
No.
Who was it that put the evidence bags on, if you know?
When he arrived at the hospital, apparently the ER staff did. That was not anything that I did.
Okay. Do you know what the purpose might be for them doing that?
Objection.
If you know.
Speculation.
If you know.
Overruled if he knows.
It's just sometimes a standard practice that they'll wrap the hands or bag the hands, so to speak, for trace evidence.
For trace evidence, and the trace evidence can be, trace evidence just means stuff that can be tested related to his hands.
Correct.
It could mean what they call gunshot residue.
It could be gunshot residue. It could be skin or hairs, fibers under the fingernails, cuts or abrasions to the hands.
What evidence do we have that Mr. Barron did not fire the Beretta on March the 7th or into March the 8th?
We didn't do any testing on gunshot residue. So if that's what you're asking.
I'm asking what proof do we have that he did not fire a firearm on March the 7th or the 8th?
I don't know if he did or did not.
Field 6?
Yes.
Yes.
Showing you defendants exhibit 6. Take a look at that.
Objection,
Yes,
Your
sir.
Honor. Lack of foundation,
This, you
calls
would
for
agree this is
speculation. Unintelligible. I don't understand.
that area where the shooting took place with a new door put in place.
That's what it appears to be, yes, sir.
And obviously it's not this door, but
Correct.
do we have a photo of the outside of the bedroom with the door closed that you're aware of? That you took?
Completely closed?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. I can't remember. There were quite a few shots, but I think most of them, they were.
Door was already
open.
open, yeah. Without a shot of the door, what it looks like with it closed, is it tough for us to know what it was Ms. Mericle was looking at, would you say?
I mean, it would just,
That's recommended the judge.
Do you have a response to the objection?
I don't think it's argumentative. I'm just seeing if the witness agrees that we can't recreate for the jury what it was that she was looking at.
Overruled.
Thank you, Judge.
You're standing there looking at a closed door and going into a bedroom
You
or
don't,
going into a room.
you don't disagree that this is really super probably close, besides it doesn't have a handle. It's probably really
It would
close.
be a closed door. Yes, sir.
Okay, but it's of that exact room.
Yes.
Okay. I'll move to tender defendants exhibit 6.
I don't know that we've established what that is a picture of. And this witness can say it's a true and accurate picture of what it purports to show.
It's demonstrative only. And it's our only means to show what it looked like.
I object.
Okay. Members of the jury, without commenting on any evidence or anything along those lines, there is, lack of a better term, real evidence, meaning things that come into evidence. So, for example, and again, not commenting on the evidence, the real Beretta, which is in a box, and then we have demonstrative evidence, which is not real evidence. For example, the mock-up of a Beretta. So that's not real evidence. It's just what's called demonstrative evidence. So what defense counsel has in his hands is not quote unquote real evidence, but it's demonstrative evidence. And I will allow it for that purpose and that purpose only.
Thank you, Judge. The published defendant 6, Judge.
Yes.
Thank you.
I like the fact that he explains stuff. I like that.
I want to talk to you now, and this is the last thing I want to talk to you about. Okay. I want to talk to you now about how we can divine or infer questions about intent from the defendant to the extent that you can. Okay.
Okay.
You don't disagree with me that this shot went through roughly this seam, right?
And I'm going to object as to this shot and this seam is because there's no shot or seam on the door. So he's asking a question with facts that are not in evidence. There's no shots on the demonstrative door. And I don't know which shot he's talking about.
I can fix that.
So I'll sustain that objection. Go ahead.
The shot, the fatal shot, which came from the Glock 9mm, right?
Yes.
Went through the door, right?
Correct.
Then through that wall and then struck Mr. Barron,
Yes.
right? And you've got a diagram of where you think he was. You got that up there? There goes the shot. I think I. Oh, great. States 181, Judge, previously admitted that published.
Yes.
This is our, and it's not to scale, and you made that
Correct.
very clear. You know, the room is not the size there that it really is, right?
Right.
And none of this is to scale, but the gist of this is we think he's here. We know it goes through the door, through the wall, and then it strikes him right on the side.
Correct.
We know that for a fact that it struck him right here.
Yes.
And then it went into his body, unfortunately, struck a major life-preserving artery. What was it?
Thoracic.
Thoracic, right?
Right.
She's outside of a closed door and makes a shot that you would agree, if it's maybe an inch to the left, misses him completely.
Inch to the left, inch right.
An inch to the left, misses him completely. Or an inch to the right, for that matter.
If it's, I don't know if I would say an inch.
Okay,
I mean,
tell me how far off she's got to be to miss him. And I know that this isn't, you're not telling these folks this is science. I've done a measurement, but you've been to the scene, you've examined the evidence, you've looked at the store, you did measurements, you did everything.
Well, you're talking about the width of the person too. I mean, you're shooting through the door, it's coming through the door, and it's, let's say, mask. Sting. No, you're good. Let's just say this is the wall. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The door's right here. You're shooting through at an angle like this. I don't know if an inch one way or the other. Several inches possibly. Okay, but an inch one way or the other is going to miss because you're talking about coming from here, coming through, and you're striking here, and I'm several inches wide, so I can't tell you, you know what I'm saying? I can't tell you that an inch in one direction would have not been a fatal shot, or an inch in the other direction would not be a fatal shot. I mean,
You would agree that this is either an incredibly skilled shot if she's intending to take his life. This is a very skilled shot through a closed door where she can't see a thing on the other side.
And I'm going to object. That calls for speculation, Judge.
He's been to the scene. He can give his opinion about that.
State's objection again.
Argumentative and calls for speculation.
Defense response.
He's the expert witness in the crime scene, and he's entitled to give an opinion about these things.
If he knows, I'll allow it. If he doesn't, that's fine.
repeat it one more time. Let's make sure we're.
This is either an incredibly skilled shot from a tremendously gifted marksman, or it's something else.
And something
If
else
you're-
is a little open-ended, Judge.
Or it's not that.
And that's an ultimate issue question, Judge.
It's not an ultimate issue.
All right, time out. I'm going to authorize the question. Go ahead and ask it again.
This is a skilled shot if she's intended to hit him.
If she's intending to hit him.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's a skilled
Yeah.
shot.
Let him answer.
I'm not, my opinion is you're talking about a distance of about 12 inches. Let's say fired from another 6 or 8 inches, whatever, from outside the door. If you're shooting completely blank without hearing anything, seeing anything, you're behind a closed door, you don't know where the person is. But if you are talking or if you are in the middle of a conversation, if you have a sound to shoot at, I don't know if I would call it an incredibly skilled shot. Does that?
With the tool of hearing, a person could find someone in a room through a closed door, is what you're suggesting.
Yes.
Yes.
If you hear somebody talking, if you hear the movement and if I've got something, I'm standing in front of a door, if I'm standing in front of a wall, it's blank, I can't see through it. But if I hear something in a certain direction, I know which way to shoot.
If a person then doesn't have the tool of good hearing, it's a more difficult shot.
It could be, yes.
And she has hearing issues, so that negates what he just said. So I don't suspect he understands that the defendant here has bad hearing, and essentially that's a bit of a boom. So that's actually a very good cross. This is why the prosecution did not want this to come in. So yeah, you could hear it, but when you're deaf, can you actually hear anything properly? And Dave, why are you watching yesterday, Dave? Why are you cheating for? You know we're doing a day behind. David.
If a person is intending to kill someone through a closed door, why would they only shoot once?
If I'm shooting through the door,
A person who's intending to kill someone through a closed door.
okay, let's say I'm not intending to kill someone, but if I am,
If you were.
if I was to try to kill someone, or if I'm deliberately aiming for someone, I've got the door closed, I hear the movement, I fire the shot, I hear the person fall, why am I going to keep shooting? I mean, that's
One got it done.
pretty much.
If I want him dead, why do I hammer through the door like a maniac to get to him?
And I'm going to object that calls for what was in somebody else's mind and is argumentative and can be saved for closing argument.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Sustained.
Would you agree that running downstairs, grabbing a claw hammer and bashing through the door to get to him is evidence that she doesn't intend for him to die? Would you not?
Objection, same objection, Judge. It's what was she thinking, and that this witness cannot answer what someone else was thinking.
I think he can give his opinion about what the damage to the door indicates, or could be inferred to indicate.
And Judge, it's speculation as to what was in someone else's mind, not as to the physical evidence.
Okay, so as to what's in someone else's mind, that I'll sustain that. As far as the alleged crime scene, I'll authorize that, but that's the ruling.
Okay. I said that was my last area, but we're gonna do one more thing. I'm sorry. Would you mind if we can set this up? I'll do it with you. Can I set the door?
Let's take a 15-minute break, and then we'll come back.
Little short barrel. Investigator, before I let you go, I wanted to talk about specifically the trajectory of the fatal shot that went through the door that we see here. And you've marked this. I don't know what number it is. I'm sorry.
It's 198.
The door is 198, Judge. One of the first things that you did when you were working with 198, well, first, you took it with you, obviously, from the scene.
Correct.
You unhinged it.
Yes.
Okay. And you took it from the scene and brought it back to your lab and have had it there until now, until yesterday when we brought it over here.
Well, it's been in the lab and property and evidence. It's been secured.
And the first question, or one of the first questions you had was, what is the angle of the shot through the door, right?
Right.
And this is, this is not a to scale angle here, but this being 90 degrees is straight up.
Right.
And 0 degrees is
Flat.
flat. And the angle that you calculated through that door is, I think you said 5 degrees or something like that.
The angle through the door directionally will be approximately 64 degrees. You're talking about.
I'm talking about rise.
The rise and incline is 5 to 7. Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to do a really bad job of drawing 5 to 7, but it's real close to flat. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. I'm showing you Defendant's Exhibit 7 as a demonstrative. This is a plastic replica of the Glock 43, correct? Which is the one that had the solid
Full metal jacket.
full metal jacket projectile, and it's torn so it's safe and can't hurt anybody. Fair?
Yeah.
And the first thing we notice about this gun is the barrel is incredibly short, right?
It's a shorter barrel, yes.
And in comparison, let's say to, our Beretta, right?
Yes, the 43 is a compact.
Compact. It's a tiny little short barrel. You can't really get a gun much shorter than that, can you? I'm sure you could, but the stuff that they sell at the store.
That's a standard compact.
Compact. Okay. And it's got a shorter barrel than the other pistol in this case, and that, of course, affects certain things because it's a shorter barrel, right?
Right.
Am I correct that it's harder to be accurate with a shorter barrel than it is with a longer one?
Longer barrels are more accurate for distance shooting, but again, what you're talking about, a small one like this, close range, it's not as effective.
Okay. So what we know is at the time the shot is fired through this door, it's almost flat at 5 degrees.
It's a narrow angle, yes.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
The up or down angle.
The up or down, yeah.
Yeah, it's at 5 to 7 degrees.
Right. In other words, it's not like that. It's not like this.
Right.
It's almost flat at the moment that it's shot.
Yes.
Right. We don't know anything about how the gun was being held in the moments before the shot. What we know is at the moment it's shot, it's almost flat.
Yes.
Right. We don't know if it's doing this in the moments before it's shot, based on what we have. Right.
No, the only thing you've got is the entry angles.
You've got the very instant that the projectile is fired outside the gun. That's what you have.
Right.
It's locked in time. That very instant is locked in time by this trajectory through the door. Right?
Yes.
Okay. In other words, if it's like this, moments before I'm about to do it, if it's like this, you don't know if that's true or not. Could be like this.
Yes, I mean,
It just ended up here.
right.
If it's like this, you don't know that either.
Objection, this has been asked and answered 3 times now.
We're doing a different
The
motion.
shaking,
Shaking, bouncing, circling. I mean,
Okay, so I'll sustain the objection. You can ask it another way, but I'm sustaining the objection.
You don't disagree that this evidence is consistent with, it could be, shaking up and down.
I've got the angle coming through the door. I mean, it's,
Gotcha.
when the shot was fired, is it this angle?
Gotcha. But it's not inconsistent with even this. Just at the moment it's fired, it's right there.
It's right there, yes.
What we do know for a fact is when you shoot a gun at a piece of metal, let's say, that bullet can ricochet and go pretty much everywhere.
It can ricochet, it can fragment, it can penetrate.
It
I
can-
mean, it
Yeah,
depends on what type of metal you're talking about versus,
sure. And there are variables, is what you're saying.
right.
Yeah. And so like in this case, one of the shots we know hit that, you called it a picket, which is just another word for it is baluster, as far as I understand. The little outside the room, one of the shots that was fired from the
Yes,
hit a picket and just, I mean, it went absolutely everywhere, right?
Right.
I mean, stuff flew out. There's pieces of the projectile out in the living room, right?
Correct.
There's stuff that flew down the hallway.
Correct.
Right? All up on the ceiling of the hallway. This thing, it just shattered and went everywhere.
Right.
From hitting one piece of metal.
Right.
You obviously know that because you have experience with firearms.
yes.
Right. Someone with knowledge of if you shoot a piece of metal, that it could ricochet and go anywhere, that might give them concern, just like it would give you concern.
It could.
You wouldn't shoot at a piece of metal super close up. Fair?
It depends on what I'm trying to do with it. I'm sorry.
All right. Okay.
I'm not going to shoot at a steel target up close, but if I was trying to get through something,
All right. Thank you.
Just beyond redirect, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I just have some questions.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
does that need to come down? or-
Nope. So looking here at State's Exhibit 198, the door, and let's talk a little bit about the gunpowder. Could banging on this door knock off gunpowder?
Yeah, any kind of blow to it, if you're hitting the door, striking the door, it could cause some of the gunpowder to bounce off or come off. Yes.
Could banging on the door repeatedly in 2 different places near where the gunpowder was knock off the gunpowder?
Yes.
Could reaching your sleeved hand through a hole wipe off the gunpowder?
It could. And with the blood on the back of the door where it looks like the body was pushed, if you're having to push the door, put your arm against it, this area right in here, there's a good chance. That's why I'm looking at the stippling versus powder.
Okay, and so it sounds like you're saying that movement against the door can knock off gunpowder.
Yes,
Movement of the door can knock off gunpowder.
yes,
So a paramedic brushing against the door could knock off gunpowder.
yes. A first responding officer, so
The defendant pushing the door open could knock off gunpowder.
yes.
Okay. And so you could see back up. So is it fair to say that when you are making your opinion or your determination about the stippling, are you looking at gunpowder?
No.
What are you looking for?
Like I said, the gunpowder can be wiped away. The stippling is actually the impacts into the surface of whatever you're looking at, whether it's, in this case, the door, clothing, or skin.
And when you made your determination, when you looked at the door at the scene, did you make a determination at that time before doing the test fires of what your opinion of was from the muzzle of the gun to the door?
Observing the stippling, I thought it was going to be pretty close. Yes, I mean, I did notice the stippling there. I didn't notice gunpowder on the door, but I did notice the stippling.
And so when you viewed the door at the scene and you looked at the stippling, what was your estimate of how far the muzzle of the gun was when it was fired?
I was pretty much what I still think now is about 6 inches away.
Okay. And so then did you later do anything to confirm that opinion?
I did do a demonstrative type firing into a door panel, yes.
Okay. And so tell the jury about what you did.
We cut a level door panel, or we cut a door into sections where we could mount it up onto basically this frame with a little bit more added to it. The door was leveled up. The gun was placed into a vise. We worked on getting the angle similar to the 64 and the 5 to 7 degree upward angle. And it was shot, test fired from the vise at 6 inches and 3 inches.
Okay. And so where did you do that?
It was at the Hall County range.
And you didn't use this door?
No.
So I'd like to switch over and use the Elmo. Okay, and I think we're gonna go ahead and take the door down now because I don't want to obstruct the juror's vision. Yeah. Is this thing good? Okay.
Thank you.
So when you were when you did your testing, I'm sorry, where did you say you did it?
It was at the Hall County range.
Okay, so when you were at the range doing the testing on a different door, how many settings how many distances
It was
did
a
you test?
3 and 6 inch.
Okay. So I think that Mr. Willis showed us the 6 inch. So let me show you what I've got marked States Exhibit 200. You recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
It's a photograph showing the test fire at a 3 inch distance.
Okay. Judge, State Tenders Exhibit 200 in evidence.
Hearing no objection, it's admitted.
Objection, sorry.
All right. So can you tell the jury what we're looking at here in States Exhibit 200?
You're just looking at the powder around the entrance, but you can also see the stippling, how the impacts into the paint are closer, they're tighter, where with a 6 inch, it was backed up and it was more consistent with actually what we see on the door, or in my opinion, what I see on the door.
So then looking back at Defense Exhibit 3, that's the 6 inch pattern?
Yes.
And so based on the test fires that you did you form any different opinion, or what was your opinion about the stippling and the length from muzzle to target on the door, in this case, States Exhibit 198?
No, when you saw the stippling there on the scene, it was my opinion that it was relatively close, probably within a 6 inch. And the test fires just confirmed it.
So now I want to ask you, looking at States Exhibit 43, I'm going to turn it around here. And then in connection with States Exhibit 43, looking at States Exhibit 45. Now, looking at the footprints and the blood spatter that's on the bedspread, could that blood evidence be consistent with a person entering the room with the gun and with the holster, unsnapping the holster and throwing it on the bed?
Yes, I mean, the blood that's there is just basically dripping down. The holster itself had blood all over it, like it had been gripped, but you're talking about unsnapping it with bloody hands and just setting it onto the bed. Yes.
So I think Mr. Willis had asked you about a scenario where the gun's already in the room, but it would also be consistent with a scenario where the gun came into the room and the holster was laid under the bed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, we touched a little bit on cross on the paper bags that were on Mr. Barron's hands.
Yes, ma'am.
Would testing for gunshot residue on Mr. Barron's hands be of any evidentiary value in this case?
Not in this case. My understanding is that if you're in the room when a gun is fired, you don't necessarily have to be the one that pulls the trigger to get the powder on your hands or on your body. A lot of times we can't get testing done on someone who is a victim because the lab will say that they were there, they got shot, so we expect to find powder on them or gunshot residue on them.
Okay. And do you know, as far as the casings and the live rounds that you found in the septic tank, do you know if you found all the projectiles, casings, and fragments?
No, I don't think we found all the projectile fragments. And as far as shell casings, I'm not sure. Like, we found some items in the septic line, but I'm not sure if that was all that was there or if some had already gotten into the septic tank.
And in your opinion, did this crime scene look altered?
Yes, I mean, the fact that the shell casings were missing from the scene, later found in the septic tank, it did show that there was manipulation of the scene at some point.
Okay, and what about the bloody footprints?
The bloody footprints are a person walking around without the shoes. I mean, they're the bloody footprints are the ones that are going through the blood, walking around in the scene itself. There were a couple going down the stairs. So it's movement with someone walking through the blood.
Did you find some bloody footprints in the bathroom in that guest bedroom up there?
Yes.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Just a couple of things that I want to make sure we're super clear on. Specifically with respect to, you said bloody footprints going down the stairs. Okay.
Yes.
You are aware, and you probably have seen the first responders, body cameras and all that, that when Miss Mericle was called down from the bedroom, she came down those front stairs
Yes.
and was barefoot.
Yes.
And there's bloody footprints, presumably from that travel.
Right.
You're not saying, to make this abundantly clear, you're not saying there's bloody footprints from her going downstairs earlier, meaning before the cops show up.
I can't say when the footsteps were deposited going down the stairs.
Well, it's only one set.
Right.
Okay. And we know she comes down when the cops call her down because you see her on the camera.
Right.
Okay. You're not saying there's a second set of bloody footprints that prove she was running downstairs with bloody feet before the police show up.
No.
Okay. One last thing that Ms. Bagwell asked you about was gunshot residue, and she had some questions about whether it'd be valuable and stuff like that. Okay, so I want to ask you a couple follow-ups, okay?
Okay.
I think you said that in cases where somebody has been the recipient or victim of a shot like this, the lab, meaning the people that do the actual testing, those folks will say, well, we're not going to test for gunshot residue because in cases where you've been shot, you know, that residue is going to come hit you anyway.
You'd expect to find it, yes.
You'd expect to find it. Person gets shot from a gun at close range, and it could spray residue on them. And so therefore the lab says, well, there's no point in us doing GSR or gunshot residue. There's no point in doing that because they're going to have residue on them anyway.
Right. Research, from what I understand, is if a gun is fired inside a room and somebody walks into the room within a few minutes, you can still actually get gunpowder residue from walking into the room.
But of course, in this case, the shot was fired behind a closed door, right?
Right.
Gunshot residue is not going to go through the door and get onto Mr. Barron from that shot.
I'm not sure how much would actually travel through. You're going to have a little bit that's going tracing the bullet, but I mean, I wouldn't expect to find a lot, no.
We're going to have to be satisfied, is what you're saying, with the fact that nobody tested Mr. Barron's hands for gunshot residue.
No, they weren't tested.
And that's a decision that that you made or that someone else made?
I believe we asked the lab to check his hands, and they may have done a GSR kit on him, but I'm not sure. It was never processed, to my knowledge.
I guess I'm just trying to find out who made the decision to not do the test, if you know.
I don't know.
Last thing, I think when Ms. Bagwell was asking you about the stuff that got flushed down the toilet, I want to make super clear that everybody knows that fragments weren't flushed down the toilet. Fragments of shots.
We didn't find any fragments of the shots.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. You're saying it's possible that somebody could have gone around and picked up some fragments and also.
Yes, because we're talking about the rounds that we were talking about scattering.
Yep.
You had the copper jackets. There were a good bit of copper jacket fragments, but the lead core, I could not find the fragments of lead core.
What we know for a fact is what I want to talk about with respect to the stuff that got flushed, okay?
The only thing that we recovered from the septic line is going to be the live rounds and the shell casings.
Live rounds and shell casings is what you found in septic lines.
Yes.
Okay. And of course, this is a house that's in North Hall County, right?
Yes.
It's not on, city sewer. It's not on the city's sewer.
No, it's got a septic tank.
It's got a septic tank. And for most people know this, but I just want to be super, super clear. If you have a septic tank, it doesn't go and leave the property. It stays in the septic tank.
Yes.
And what you're saying is we went through the pipes, but we didn't go into the septic tank, and there might be some stuff in there.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No further questions.
Statement, this witness be excused.
Yes, Judge.
Defense.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony. You're excused.
The state calls Bryson Miller.
Defense, could you move your easel when you're not using it, please? Thank you.
Disconnected. It can take 2 seconds.
I'll leave that to you. It just doesn't need to be in the middle of the well to court on a new witness. Thank you.
If you
Welcome.
may, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You can have a seat. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Bryson Miller, BRYSONMILLER.
Where are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, or the GBI, also known as the State's Crime Lab.
How long have you been employed there? And if you don't mind pulling your microphone toward you and speaking into the microphone, that would be great.
Yeah, sorry. I've been employed for a little over 4 years now.
What's your role?
I'm a forensic serologist.
Forensic serologist. What does a forensic serologist do?
As a serologist, I screen items of evidence for bodily fluids, specifically blood, semen, and saliva.
Can you describe what kind of education and training that you received to become a forensic serologist?
Yes, I have a Bachelor's of Science in Biology from the University of Georgia. And since starting at GBI, I received intensive in-house training that involved the review of lectures, PowerPoints, and literature reviews that I was then tested on. I had written exams, oral exams, and practical exams to simulate casework, all of this to ensure my competency.
I'd like to talk to you about your role in this case. How did you get involved?
When a case is submitted to GBI, a request is open, and depending on what that request is, it can be assigned to me. If it's what we call a blood request or a saliva or semen exam, it will be assigned to me.
What were you requested to do in this case?
For this case, I received a blood request on 2 swabs.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's already been tendered as states 196 and 197. Can I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. I believe that they are already open.
Okay.
Are these the swabs that you received?
Can I refer to my notes?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Yes. So GBI item 17, I can recognize by my initials and date of the date I tested them. They also have the unique GBI case number, and the same thing for 18. Yep. So my initials and date, I know you can't see, but and the unique case number is how I'm able to identify them.
Okay. I can take them back.
Okay, thank you.
So do you know what the swabs, I guess, what was swabbed with those swabs?
Of course, I wasn't there when the swabs were collected, but when they come in, they're labeled on the box, and they were labeled as GBI item 17 was labeled as being collected from a firearm magazine, and GBI item 18 was labeled as being collected from a holster.
Did you receive any firearms in this case to be tested?
I believe that some firearms were submitted, but they were not associated with the blood request, so I did not do any testing on any direct firearms.
Okay, so you receive a sample, in this case swabs. What's your first step when you receive a specimen or swab to be tested?
Yes, so for a blood exam, the first thing that I'll do is I will open the item and look over the swabs, specifically for any reddish brown stains that could be characteristic of blood. If I locate those stains, I will then complete our chemical examination, which is 2 chemical color change tests that I complete at the same time by taking small cuttings of the swabs and then adding chemicals to those cuttings. And a color change will occur immediately to indicate the presence of blood. If no color change occurs, that item is considered negative or it fails to reveal the presence of blood.
Okay, so you said 2 color change tests. What are the names of those tests?
One test is the tetramethylbenzidine test, or the TMB test. The other is the phenolphthalein, or the PHE test.
Do they both test for the same thing? For blood?
Yeah, they are screening tests for the presence of, we use them as a screening test for the presence of blood, correct? It's important to note that these tests are presumptive tests, though, which just simply means that they have false positives or other substances that can give a positive result. Specifically for the PHE test, those false positives are nickel, copper, fresh flour, fresh horseradish. Sorry. For the TMB is rust, mustard, garlic, potassium cyanide, and tomato. Now, the important note here is that blood is the only known substance that these 2 tests share, which is why we do both of them, to greatly reduce the risk that a positive result we obtain is a false positive.
Okay, so if you have a presumptive positive for blood, do you then test for whose blood the sample belongs to?
I personally do not. So in instances when an item screens positive, if it is eligible, it can move forward to DNA testing, where they will test to see who the blood belongs to.
So here you had 2 sets of swabs, one from a holster, one from a magazine. Did you run both of those tests on both sets of swabs?
Yes, as part of the blood exam, I completed it. I completed the blood exam on both swabs.
Okay, so with regard to the swabs for the magazine, what did you conclude?
The swabs from the magazine, or GBI item 17, failed to reveal the presence of blood or were negative.
And what about the holster?
The swabs from the holster indicated the presence of blood or were positive.
No further questions.
Defense?
I'm finished questioning him.
You may be excused. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
State calls Martin Gravely.
How funny is that, though? Defense, no objection. We just finished. Yeah, no questions. He literally doesn't give a shit about what he has to say. I know, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place today. I'm also trying to write my shopping order for tomorrow. I gotta think like my niece's thing. Young girls, what do they want to eat? You know, I've asked them, but they're all so freaking different. They like different things, you know. So I got, as a good uncle, I had to sit all 3 down to get their order. So I'm trying to get that sorted as well. Right. Well, you need a bad bitch, a Rolls Royce, and his new phone. I'll do without Rolls Royce, but a bad bitch and a new phone would be nice.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Have a seat, please. Can you introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Martin Gravely III. It is spelled MartinGravely.
How are you employed?
I'm employed with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation in the Division of Forensic Science as a firearms examiner.
How long have you been with the crime lab?
I've been with the crime lab since 2022. I started as a laboratory technician, and in April of 2023, I was promoted up to a crime lab scientist as a firearms examiner.
As a firearms examiner, what are your duties?
I examine firearms to determine if they are operable, if they function properly. I also am able to determine if fired ammunition components, such as bullets and cartridge cases, were fired from a particular firearm.
What is the education and training that allows you to be a firearms examiner?
I received a Bachelor's of Science in Forensic Science from Piedmont University. I also, once I was promoted to crime lab scientist, I then went through a roughly 15-month to a year-long to a 2-year-long training program in-house, which dealt with manufacturing processes of making firearms and different manufacturing processes of bullets and cartridge cases, as well as comparison microscopy, which is where we use a comparison microscope, which is similar to that of a compound microscope that you might find in a biology lab. We use those to determine if a bullet or cartridge case was fired from a particular firearm. After that, I then went through a roughly 7 months to 1 year long period called supervised casework, where I did real cases under the direct supervision of another fully trained examiner who reworked my case to ensure that I did everything properly. After that, I became an independent examiner.
Have you ever testified as an expert in firearms examination or firearms identification?
I have
How many times?
6 times.
Judge, the state tenders Martin Gravely as an expert in firearms examination and identification.
No objection.
So ordered. Folks, again, experts are here to assist you in your task as finders of fact. Just like any witness, any credibility or not credibility is solely for you to decide. Proceed.
Can you explain to the jury what firearm identification is?
Firearm identification is the branch of forensic science that deals with identifying whether or not a particular bullet or cartridge case was fired from a particular firearm.
And what specifically is a firearm?
A firearm is an action, or it is a machine with a type of action, that a trigger specifically, that when it is pulled, it uses the products of combustion to propel a projectile down the barrel of a firearm.
What are the different types of firearms?
So there are long guns and handguns. Long guns are your shotguns and your rifles. They're typically designed to be fired from the shoulder with 2 hands. And then your handguns, there are several types. The primary ones are pistols, which are or semi-automatic pistols, where you use a magazine and you insert it into typically the grip, and it's designed to be fired with 1 hand. Good firearm safety says you should fire it with 2 hands. And when you fire it, it automatically ejects the cartridge case from the firearm without use from the shooter. In contrast, a revolver has multiple cartridges inserted into a cylinder that is raised into in line with the barrel and the firing pin or hammer. And so when you fire it, you have to manually remove the cartridge cases from the cylinder. So that's the primary difference between those 2 firearms.
What do the terms single action and double action mean?
So single action so both of them refer to what happens as you're pulling the trigger. And so with single action, it means when you pull the trigger, one thing happens. So typically when you pull the trigger, the hammer falls, detonates the cartridge. With double action, you will pull the trigger and it will cock the hammer. And as you cock the hammer, once the trigger is fully pulled, then it will release the hammer, striking the primer and detonating the cartridge. So single action, 1 action happens, it just drops the hammer. Double action, 2 actions are happening, it cocks the hammer and then releases the hammer.
How are you able to determine if a bullet or cartridge case was fired from a particular firearm?
So like I said before, I use a comparison microscope. It is like I said, a compound microscope joined together by an optical bridge. It has 2 stages on it that I'm able to manipulate. And so I will be able to look at 2 fired ammunition components, specifically a cartridge case or a bullet. And I'm able to view them at the same magnification under the similar lighting. And what I'm looking for, I have a demonstrative if it would help the jury figure out a bullet versus a cartridge case.
Would that be all right, Judge?
I don't even know what it is, and I haven't heard an objection, so that's fine.
So typically, this is what most people would consider to be a bullet. The bullet is only this part. The entirety of it is what is called a cartridge. A cartridge is a single unit of unfired ammunition. And so it consists of the bullet, the primer, which you can see here, the cartridge case as a whole, and then there's gunpowder inside. And so when the firing pin, or when the firearm trigger is pulled, the firing pin is released and it strikes the primer. And when it does that, a spark then travels through what is called the flash hole, which you can see here, and it ignites the gunpowder within, causing rapid gas expansion. That rapid gas expansion pushes the bullet out of the mouth of the cartridge case and into the barrel. So I'll get to that in a moment. But with the cartridge case, when that happens, it is pressed back into what is called the breech face of the firearm. The breech face is just where the cartridge case sits in the firearm. And so when it does that, it leaves a negative impression of that breech face on the cartridge case. It is also then grabbed by the extractor, and it's pulled back through the force of the rapid gas expansion, and it strikes what is called an ejector, and it hits and it's kicked out of the firearm. The bullet, on the other hand, as that's happening simultaneously, the bullet travels into the barrel of the firearm and it engages what is called rifling. Rifling are raised and lowered lands and grooves in the barrel that give a twist to the bullet that allows it to spin, granting it more accuracy. So all of these areas that I just discussed, the rifling, the breech face, the ejector, the extractor, the firing pin, all of these things leave behind marks that are created during the manufacture of each of the items. Each of these items have individual characteristics, which are microscopic imperfections created from the manufacture of those parts. It's also from wear and tear. And each of these individual characteristics are similar to that of the firearm's fingerprint. And through comparison microscopy with my comparison microscope, I can compare these two items to see the individual characteristics from one bullet or cartridge case to another. And that's how I'm able to determine whether or not a particular firearm fired bullets or cartridge cases.
Okay, and I heard you mention the individual characteristics. Is there something called class characteristics?
Yes. So class characteristics are characteristics that the manufacturer of the firearm intend to make. So for example, Glock, typically, unless it's a 45 caliber Glock, their rifling structure will have six lands and grooves with a right twist. There are other firearms, such as High Point comes to mind, with a 3 lands and grooves with a left twist. These are class characteristics that help narrow down from a general pool of firearms that could have fired any of these bullets or cartridge cases to a much smaller list. There are other types of class characteristics, such as firing pin impression shape. There are circular or hemispherical. There are elliptical or teardrop apertures and whatnot. These all help assist narrowing down a large group of firearms into a smaller group, into a smaller group, into a smaller group. But no identification can be made off of just class characteristics alone. We have to look at the individual characteristics.
Okay. And was evidence submitted to you by the Hall County Sheriff's Office in this case?
It was, yes.
I'm gonna show you what's marked States Exhibit 187. Recognize this.
I do. It is a Glock 9mm handgun. I recognize it by the unique Division of Forensic Science barcode that is affixed to all items of evidence at the GBI. This one is 2025-1007495. I also recognize it because I see my initials from where I sealed the evidence. I also recognize it by my initials on the firearm itself and the magazine. I also can see the serial number present.
And now I'm going to show you what I've got marked States Exhibit 190. You recognize that?
I do recognize it. I recognize it as a Beretta 9mm firearm, again, with the Division of Forensic Science barcode on it, as well as my initials on the box, the trigger guard, and the magazine, as well as its serial number, which is on the other side of the firearm. But I recognize it through all the other indicators.
And I want to show you what I've got marked States Exhibit 191. Do you recognize this item?
I do. Again, it is one 9mm cartridge case. I recognize it from the the Division of Forensic Science barcode and my initials.
And I've handed you what is marked States Exhibit 189. Do you recognize that?
I do. It's another 9mm cartridge case. I recognize it again through my initials as well as the barcode.
And States Exhibit 192.
This is another 9mm cartridge case. Again, I recognize it through the barcode as well as my initials.
And States Exhibit 188.
This would be a bullet that I identified to be a 9mm bullet. I recognize it with my initials as well as the Division of Forensic Science barcode.
And looking at those items, States Exhibits 187, 188, 189, 190, 191, and 92, did you receive those? What date did you receive those at the crime lab?
I received them on, I received the bullet on March 12th of 2025, and I received the firearms and the cartridge cases on May 15th of 2025.
Okay. And had these items been previously submitted to the crime lab for testing by someone other than yourself?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Can you explain to the jury what outsourcing is?
So typically with an outsource case, we will send it off to because we had so many cases at the time, we would send some of these cases out to an outsourced agency to run their own experiments or run their own, collect their own conclusions and findings, run their own experiments on it. They will generate their own test fires and they will come to their own conclusions. And then they will be sent back to us and then we will release a report based off of them. If and when those cases then go to court, they will be reworked in-house by a trained examiner through the GBI. And that is what happened in this case.
So when you received these items, States Exhibits 187 through 192, what did you do with the items when you received them?
When I received the items, I examined the cartridge cases and bullets first to determine their class characteristics. So again, back to what I was saying earlier about leading from these cartridge cases could have been fired from any number of firearms to trying to narrow that list down. I looked at the firing pin impression shape or the rifling structure, and if they had the same class characteristics to the firearm, I would then test fire the firearm to then compare them microscopically to determine if they were fired from the same firearm. So I looked at the cartridge cases, found that they did have the same class characteristics, so then I test fired the firearms, and then I compared the test fires to the evidence items. I compared them to the test fires.
And so did you reach any conclusions? First, let's start with item 8. Your item 8, which is our Exhibit 188.
I did reach a conclusion with the bullet item 8. It was fired. Item 8 was fired from the firearm. My item 12.A, which is States Exhibit 187, based on class and individual characteristics.
Okay, and is your item 8, which is our 187, which gun is that?
That would be the Glock.
Okay, so so we've got the projectile that was recovered from the medical examiner was fired from the Glock. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then did you make any findings concerning the Beretta, which is, let's see, our Exhibit 190 and your item number 13A?
I did. I found that both the Beretta and the Glock were operational. I also found that the cartridge cases, my items 14 and 16 were fired from the Beretta, and their States Exhibit 191 and 192.
Okay, and what are those? What actually are those? What are States Exhibits 190 and 192?
They're 9mm cartridge cases.
Okay. And so then did you make, let's see, also concerning the Glock, did you make any conclusion about the cartridge case that is item 15 for you, and 189 is our exhibit number?
I did. That cartridge case was fired from the Glock.
Okay. So did you do any other testing on the firearms?
I determined that they were operational, so I did what is called a check function test, where when I test fired the firearms, I ensured that they were operational. With the Beretta, I also did what is called a bump off or push off test. Because it has an exposed hammer, what I will do is I will check the hammer at all configurations. So it has a half cock and then a full cock. And then I will try to, with hand strength, push it forward to try and determine if the hammer will be removed from its position without pulling the trigger. I did those tests. It passed, meaning that the hammer did not fall. And there's another test that I did not perform because as a functional firing pin safety, it's called a bump off test, where we keep the hammer at rest and we strike it with a hammer, or a rubber mallet rather, to determine if it will detonate a cartridge. But again, I did not perform that test because it has a functional firing pin safety and it could damage it.
Okay. And looking at States Exhibit 190, which is the Beretta, Is there a safety on that?
The Beretta did have a number of safeties. Yes, it had a manual safety, which is it is a slide-mounted ambidextrous safety, where when it is faced up like this, and there's a little red dot, the firearm is not safe. The safety is disengaged, which means that the firearm can fire. When the safety is engaged, it physically pivots and it disconnects the sear and trigger assembly, meaning that it literally will move it. So if it's set like this to where the firing pin can be struck, it moves it like this to where the firing pin cannot be struck. It also decocks the hammer and acts as a decocker. So if you had the hammer ready to fire and you activated the safety, it will fall and not detonate a cartridge.
So it sounds like you're saying the Beretta has a manual safety,
That's correct.
and that if you don't disengage the safety, what happens?
If you do not disengage the safety, meaning that the red dot is present, the firearm could be shot.
It could be shot.
It could be, yes, if you pull the trigger.
Okay. So if the safety is engaged and you pull the trigger, what happens?
So because it disconnects the sear trigger, or because it disconnects the firing pin or sear trigger linkage, essentially the trigger will just move, but it will not do anything to the firing components. It will not activate the hammer. It won't do anything. Essentially, it renders the firearm inert.
Okay. And does a Glock have a manual safety?
No,
Did you perform any trigger pull tests?
I did.
Results.
So a trigger pull test, before I get to the results, a trigger pull test is essentially we take, if you've been to a grocery store and you put your fruit on one of those scales, it's very similar to that measuring device. So what I'll do is I'll take the hook part and I will put it into the trigger, and then I will hold it in a normal position, and I will pull it to determine the weight that it takes to pull the trigger. So I did that with both the Glock and the Beretta. And my findings for both of those, the Glock had an average trigger pull of about 5.75 pounds, which is the equivalent of about a half a gallon of milk. And the Beretta, it has single action and double action, similar to what we discussed earlier, where if you do the single action, all you're doing is pulling the trigger and the hammer is released. That trigger pull weight was about 4.5 pounds, and the double action one was about 12.75 pounds. So 10 pounds would be about a full gallon of milk.
Okay. And then did you say what the trigger pull on the Glock is?
Yes, I did, but I can repeat it. It is about 5.75 pounds.
Okay. And now talking about the Beretta specifically, if there were a total of 4 unspent rounds matching the ammunition, the same ammunition that was located in the Beretta, based on your training and experience, what events could cause those live rounds to come out of the firearm without it being fired?
The way that I would expect cartridges to be removed from a firearm unfired would be having to rack the slide. Racking the slide being when you hold the firearm either with your right or left hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to do it like this. When you rack the slide, you pull the slide, which is the top part of it, the metal part typically, you pull it rearward. And by doing that, the extractor is going to hold on to the cartridge head, like what my hand is doing, and it's going to pull it and kick it out. So if you don't fire the gun and you rack the slide, it will remove the cartridge that's from the chamber, provided it's the correct ammunition. Another way is if there is no magazine in the firearm, and again, you rack the slide, but you don't have enough strength, it could be enough to possibly remove it from the chamber and get it to fall out. But again, you would have to rack the slide no matter what.
If a person unfamiliar with the Beretta left the safety engaged, could that contribute to live rounds being expelled?
Not necessarily. If the safety is engaged and I can't testify necessarily to unfamiliarity, but if the safety is engaged and you're not ready for that, and you expect the trigger to detonate the cartridge, one may go to try to rack the slide. So it's possible, but in the event of the safety being engaged or disengaged or engaged does not necessarily mean that the cartridge will come out, but someone will have to rack the slide.
Okay. And would it surprise you if there was a spent shell casing located in the chamber of the Beretta when it was cleared by the crime scene?
That I'm familiar with where the casing was from the firearm. In the event of a normal firing situation, that would be surprising, yes.
Do you have an opinion based on your training and experience, how it might be that a spent shell casing would be found inside a gun like a Beretta when the chamber is cleared?
The only way that I could see a casing remaining within the firearm after the firearm has been shot is if there was a jam, or that's about the only way that I would expect it. Because like I said, the extractor is going to grab the head, and provided it's the correct ammunition for that firearm, it's going to grab it and kick it out. After it's fired, there shouldn't be a cartridge case within the chamber, provided everything goes correctly.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Just a few questions, okay? Specifically, I want to just talk to you about the Beretta. Okay? You said that if the Beretta is functioning properly, once it is fired, the casing should be ejected.
Yes, that's correct.
Because it's designed to function that way. That's how it functions. It fires and then it ejects the empty casing.
Yes, that's correct. That's how semi-automatic pistols function, yes.
And if it doesn't, that just means there's been some problem with the gun? Is that what the idea is?
Not necessarily. If you're unfamiliar with firearms, or if you're unfamiliar in general, with firearms, you may have what is called like a limp wrist when you're shooting, or if you're shooting with the wrong hand, you may not be ready for that recoil. And so when you hold a firearm to shoot, if you have a limp wrist, it might mess up the timing of the extraction and kicking it out of the firearm, which could cause malfunctions such as like a stovepipe. But provided that you're using the firearm properly and you have a firm grip, everything should function properly, provided that the firearm is operational.
Some sort of, in other words, what you're saying is it can stay in the chamber because the person who's firing it is not holding it firmly enough.
Not necessarily the chamber. I would expect it to remain.
The barrel.
No. So I would expect it to remain within that area. So when it comes to a firearm, there's the barrel, which is the part where the bullet travels through, and then there's the chamber where the cartridge sits. So they're two separate, they're attached by the same metal, but they're two separate areas. And so when it fires, the cartridge case comes back and ideally comes out of the chamber and gets kicked out. Now, if there's a limp wrist or if the firearm is malfunctioning, the recoil still should act on the cartridge case to the point where it comes out. It just may not, because of the timing, it may get stuck in the ejection port, which would cause a stovepipe, which would look similar to this, with the slide not being fully pushed back or forward, and it just stuck kind of like this out of the gun.
And I'm going to use this sort of replica. Okay? What you mean is it would try to eject it, and then it would be sticking up. The empty shell would be sticking up, basically poking out of here.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. That's what you call stovepipe.
That's correct. It's a failure to eject malfunction.
And I'm talking about where the shell casing is still actually in the barrel.
Right. I would not expect that from it, provided that the ammunition is correct. I would not expect that kind of a malfunction. I would expect more of a failure to feed malfunction where the slide tries to take another cartridge out of the magazine. So there's two cartridges trying to fit one hole. Or like I said, a failure to eject, which is more of a stovepipe. I would not expect that.
I want to ask you now then about I think you were talking about when actual full, I'm using the word bullets, but that's not the right word. The whole thing is called a?
Cartridge.
The whole cartridge is situations where the whole cartridge is actually coming out of the gun out of the top, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you said in order for that to happen, this thing has to be pulled back to slide, right?
Yes, for a full cartridge to be ejected from there, it has to be pulled back. Yes.
You're calling that rack.
Yeah, racking the slide. Yes.
If you've got a cartridge stuck into the barrel,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so it didn't function the way it's supposed to function. You still got the cartridge in there, and you rack the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct? Cartridges can come out from racking the gun.
It's possible that would be what I call that would be called a failure to feed malfunction, where essentially there's still a cartridge case within the chamber and another cartridge comes up, but it can't go entirely in there. So typically what will happen is the slide will try to move forward and you would have to, again, pull the slide back to remove the cartridge. Typically you should drop the magazine to do all of that if you want to clear the actual malfunction itself. But yes, that's possible.
Gotcha. Okay.
Would it be possible for someone to stick the spent shell casing back in the gun?
Yes, it's possible.
And did you find any stovepiping on the shell casing that from the Beretta?
I saw no damage that would indicate any kind of stovepipe or any type of malfunction from the cartridge cases.
If you were holding the Beretta at an awkward angle and you don't have a good grip on it, and the slide, and you're racking, the slide comes back and hits something here, preventing it from going all the way back, could that sort of action keep the Beretta from ejecting the casing?
Can you repeat the question one more time? I'm sorry.
Yep. So if you're trying to fire the gun and you're racking the slide back, but there's an object right here that's preventing, the slide hits and doesn't come all the way back. Is that something that could prevent a shell casing from being ejected?
If it's coming back, the casing has already been ejected. So it would affect more along the lines of the next cartridge being inserted into the chamber.
Okay.
If there was something blocking, so let's say you shoot the gun and there's something physically blocking the slide as it moves rearward, that could affect the casing coming out of the chamber. Yes.
Okay. And would that have any effect on a live round being ejected coming out of the gun?
If you shoot the firearm and it does not eject properly, it could cause the next cartridge to be pulled, which would cause a double feed situation. It would just cause another malfunction in the situation. But I would not expect a cartridge to just flop out. It would lock up the gun.
So what are the ways that live rounds can be ejected from a gun like the Beretta?
If you are using the firearm properly, just racking the slide would get the cartridge out, or just dropping the mag and doing it and removing them from the magazine itself.
And if you are not operating the gun properly?
Those are still the only ways that I could see you removing the cartridges is racking the slide. There may be a malfunction, or removing the magazine and then removing the cartridges from the magazine itself.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. You may be excused.
Yeah.
You're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you have now?
How long have you been, I guess, the supervisor in that role?
A year and a half.
What kind of duties are you tasked with, I guess, in digital forensics in that unit?
Now I'm tasked with supervision, but at once upon a time I did all the digital forensics for the sheriff's office.
By you did all the digital forensics, what do you mean?
I process every cell phone or computer that needs to be processed for evidentiary value.
What kind of training and, I guess, experience do you have in doing digital forensics and analytics?
Training, I did a 40-hour course with Cellbrite, and then I've done over 200 hours with the National Computer Forensic Institute in Hoover, Alabama with the Secret Service.
Were you in your current role in March of 2025?
I believe I was a sergeant in March of 2025
Okay.
in that same role.
Okay, in the same role, like doing the
Cell phones and computers.
cell phones and computers. Okay. How did you get involved in this case?
I received a request from Investigator Medford to process 2 cell phones.
2 cell phones. Okay. So what kind of phones were there?
There was a blue iPhone 13 Pro Max, I believe, and a gray iPhone 11.
Okay. And to your knowledge, who owned the blue iPhone?
I believe it's the defendants. The blue one's the defendants.
Okay. Can you tell the jury what a cell phone extraction is?
It's basically a digital copy of the phone. So we call it an extraction, but we don't actually take anything off the phone. We just basically do a copy of the phone.
What happens when you first get a cell phone to analyze?
When I first get it, I look at it and make sure that's what, it was described as in the search warrant. And then I log it into our system. We have a spreadsheet in my office where each case is assigned a bin and a charging station because they need to be charged to be processed. And then once it's able to be processed, then I take it to my computer and start plugging it in.
So you mentioned a warrant. In this case, did you get a warrant to get him to both of the phones?
Yes, ma'am.
So you mentioned plugging in the phone. So you get a phone, you plug it in. How do you get into the phone?
So I technically do not. There's a software called Cellbrite. We purchased it. We'll open it on my computer. There's also a digital machine that comes with, or a machine that comes with, a machine that comes with this little box. I open that on the computer. I turn the box on, or I click some buttons and I turn the box on, and then I eventually plug the phone into the forensic machine, which is a little box.
So you plug it in, you plug it into this little box. What kind of data are you able to extract if the phone is successfully extracted, ran through the program?
Everything I think the extraction we get most. I can't say how much we get, how much we don't get, because that would take a lot of going through the phone manually and all that fun stuff. But we try to do a full file system, which is the best possible extraction I can do.
Okay, so let me show you. This has already been tendered as State's Exhibit 182. Is this one of the cell phones that you did an extraction on in this case?
This appears to be the blue iPhone in this case. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the blue iPhone, is that the iPhone 13?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and are your initials on this?
They are.
They are.
They're on each top corner of the back.
Okay, I can take that back. Were you able to successfully extract data from both of the phones?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you perform a phone extraction or cell dump on the blue iPhone 13?
I did.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked as States 199. This is just for photo. No, this is the entire video.
Those are separate.
Those are separate. Those came from the dump. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to show you just what's been pre-marked as States 199.
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
you know what's on this?
It's the report from the phone extraction.
Did you review this hard drive prior to coming to court today?
I did.
And you said that there's a phone extraction on here. Which phone extraction is that for?
The blue Apple iPhone 13.
Okay, and is what is on this hard drive a fair and accurate copy of the phone extraction that you did perform?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the state moves to tender State's Exhibit 199 into evidence.
Can we get the date again of the extraction?
The date of the extraction. Actually, yes, I have another exhibit that shows it.
Can you just tell us?
I believe it was March the 17th of 2025
Okay.
for the blue iPhone.
No further objection to 199?
Thank you.
Admit, it was 199.
It was 199.
Admitted.
Okay, so it's for the record. I'm going to show you now what's been marked as States 199A. What is that? What does that say?
So when the extraction is completed, there's another software that we purchased from Cellbrite called Physical Analyzer. That's where I take the extraction, which is technically ones and zeros, like, everybody's seen computers, all ones and zeros, extractions like that. And then I take it and put it into Physical Analyzer, which is a parsing software, so we can view it all. And then I generate a report from that. And this is a snippet of the home screen of that report. It shows the device information.
Does that photo or screenshot fairly and accurately reflect what, Cellbrite or the Physical Analyzer looks like when you load up the defendant's cell dump on the computer?
Yes, ma'am. This is
Okay.
the device info section of it. Yes, ma'am.
The state would like to tender State's Exhibit 199A into evidence.
No further objection to 199A?
Admitted.
Permission to publish?
What are you looking to publish?
Well, we have it on, it's the screenshot, Judge.
Okay.
We have it on the computer. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Okay, so I just want to ask you a few questions about this. Okay. Is that good? Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so looking at this screenshot, what do you see?
So you see the extraction start time, which would be March 17th, 2025 at 11:28 hours. And then what time, how long it took, basically. So when it ended was March 17th, 2025 at 3 p.m.
And that's in that red box?
It's in the top box there, yes, next to the display of a cell phone.
Is that your name underneath there?
It is.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about, tell me a little, oh my goodness, doing this upside down. Tell me a little bit about this data that you see over here. What is that? What's that reflecting?
So it shows the Apple ID that's attached to the phone. There's actually two here. So like your email that you have to use for Apple to download apps and all that fun stuff. It shows two here. One is drmiracle.miracledentistry@gmail.com. And the other one is susanna.haley123@gmail.com.
Is it fair to say this phone belongs to the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I want to ask you, oh yes, thank you so much. Okay. So you see some little boxes up here underneath this blue box that says home. It says timeline. What's that?
It's so if you were to click on that, it will open up an entire timeline for the phone. So when it's the phone, when she first got the phone, if say it was from the store, it will show from then until the date of extraction. If she bought it from a secondary party and it was factory reset, it would be from that time until the date of the extraction.
Can phone dumps or cell phone extractions be large?
Yes, ma'am.
If you are in the Cellbrite software, like we see in the screenshot, and you said the timeline, you get the entirety of the phone, are you able to filter results or look for certain things?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of things can you look for?
Dates, times, you can filter between messages, phone calls, contacts, log entries. I mean, basically, there's a lot.
Okay, so if I were to hypothetically look up the word blue, could I filter and make a report of any time the word blue was mentioned in the phone?
The word blue or the spelling BLUE within any other word.
Okay. How do you run a report on Cellbrite?
How do I generate a report?
Yeah, generate a report.
So once it's loaded into Physical Analyzer, the screen looks very similar as what it would here. It's kind of hard to do from here. There's on the top right of the screen, I don't think you can see on this snippet, there is a button that says Generate Report. So you click that, you have to enter some data, like a case number. I'll try to do case number. There's a file path where you wanted to save the file to, things of that nature. Then there's different reports you can generate within Cellbrite. You can do HTML, which is like an internet-based, or XML. We always use Cellbrite Reader, which is the UFDR report, which is a Cellbrite Reader report, which is what you see here.
Are you also able to find and filter out pictures on a Cellbrite report, or generate a report with pictures if you wanted to?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked as States Exhibits 199B and 199C. What are these?
So these are basically a snip of a picture that was on the report from the phone.
What does it mean if a snippet says something was created?
That's when it was taken.
Okay. By the user of the phone?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I can take those. And your previous answer, was that as to both 199B
I'm sorry.
and 199C?
I didn't see it.
Yeah, there's two.
Yes, it's just a separate picture, or a different picture from the phone.
And did these come from the defendant's cell phone dump?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you now, and there's going to be quite a few. What's been pre-marked as States Exhibits 199D through 199S. And I'm going to ask you, because there's quite a number of them, can you just thumb through them and then give me a look when you're done thumbing through them? Actually, you know what? Starting from 199D, can you tell me what it depicts?
So 199D appears to be a timeline from March the 8th of 2025 through at 1:10 a.m. to March the 8th, 2025 at 1:23 a.m. And it appears to be the call log of the cell phone.
Okay. What about 199E?
199E. This was a little more lengthy. It appears to be a call or a timeline with different filters. This one has contacts, a call log, and messages from the defendant's phone to or from, whichever way it would go, with a Beth Barron. And that's from October 28th of 2024 until February the 3rd of 2025.
What about 199F?
199F is a timeline of a call log between the defendant's phone and a Brittany Barron and there's two times on that, which is February the 28th of 2024 and February the 16th of 2025.
What about 199G?
So it's again a timeline report of messages and call logs and contacts and device notifications from the defendant and a Dana Mericle Gardner.
What about 199H?
It's a timeline of messages from January 22nd to February the 12th with a David Barron and the defendant.
What about on, let me see that one. Is there another participant in
Oh.
the block?
There's a David Barron, Susan, and then, I'm sorry, a Dana Mericle Gardner as well.
What about, that was H, what about I?
I is a timeline, again, with call logs, messages. I'm sorry, I have to go through them. Call logs and messages from February the 28th until, I'm sorry, December 28th of 2024 through February 16th, 2025 between the defendant and Evan Barron.
199J.
There appears to be a timeline of text or instant messages from February the 2nd at 12:43 till February 2nd at 3:23 between the defendant and a Mike Harris and Judy Dixon.
199K.
So again, it's a timeline of call logs and messages and device notifications and emails as well on this one from January the 20th of 2025 until March the 7th, 2025. And it appears to be with a Jennifer Hall.
199L.
This is a timeline of, so far, some log entries. This is some log entries and text messages, device notifications. There's some notes in here as well. Messages. This runs from October the 10th of 2024 until March the 8th of 2025. And there's messages between Jessica Sellers and the defendant.
199M.
So timeline with has some web history, messages, log entries, call logs, dated October the 15th, 2024 until March 8th of 2024. And it's with a Dana Mericle Gardner and the defendant. And there's supposed to be some with a Leslie, I don't know how to say her last name, Flowernoy?
First name Leslie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 199N.
This is a report of a message from Facebook, a Facebook Messenger message. And it appears that it was between Lilia Bocan and the defendant.
199O.
This is a timeline of the notes from the defendant's phone.
199P. Oh, I apologize.
I was going to give you the date, Randy, if you wanted it.
Sure.
From January the 21st until March the 1st of 2025.
199P.
Timeline of messages between the defendant and a subject named McLean in the phone. And that runs from January the 28th. There's also some images in here. Call logs as well. Location data. This one's fairly lengthy.
If it helps, if you want to just give the date range.
Okay, and the date range is from January the 28th to January the 29th.
What about 199Q?
It's a timeline between February the 2nd through February the 3rd of the device. And I believe this is the entirety. I don't know if it's filtered.
Okay. What about 199R?
99R is items searched on the phone.
Without telling me what's in
yes.
those items, just
it
tell
was
me
on
the date.
March the 17th or March the 7th of 2025 at 10:19 p.m.
Okay. And 199S.
199S is a timeline from February the 28th until March the 7th of 2025. And this is the device connectivity, which is like Bluetooth and things of that nature.
Are all of these reports from the cell phone extraction or the cell phone dump from the defendant's phone?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you review these reports prior to coming to court today?
I did.
Are they a fair and accurate representation of what you or what was requested to be filtered on the cell phone timeline?
Yes, ma'am.
The state requests to tender only 199S at this time. That's the Bluetooth?
Bluetooth.
It's the very last.
I think I misunderstood. She told me she wasn't going to, I understood her telling me she wasn't going to tender any of them, so I haven't been able to go through all of that.
So now sounds like a good time for a recess. Please do not discuss this case with anyone. Do not perform any research in person, online, paper, or otherwise. We will return and begin testimony at 1:30. Thank you.
Going into page.
Direct examination of the witness.
I was at the point where I asked the court, to tender state's exhibit 199S into evidence.
No further objection to 199.
Okay,
Admitted.
thank you. Lieutenant Lennon, let's go through this report.
Great.
What does this report indicate to you?
So this is the device connectivity. It's the timeline of the phone connecting to certain Bluetooth devices.
Okay, so going on the first page, what is this phone connecting to?
The first one would be on February the 8th of 2025. It shows it connected to a Porsche.
Okay. To your knowledge, what did the defendant drive, if you know?
I do not know.
Okay, you don't know. That's completely fine. So on the 28th, the defendant's phone connects to a Porsche. Going on to, let's see, how many times did it connect to the Porsche that day?
On the 28th. So one of them is like 3 seconds apart. So do you want me to count that as one or two?
Whatever you want.
I would say just one on that. And then I'll continue, obviously.
Is it fair to say more than 5 times?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does this report also indicate whether or not the phone disconnected?
It does.
Okay. So on the 28th, at some point, it was connected. It's broken. What about the 29th, February 29th, 2025? Did it connect on that day to the Porsche?
It does not appear, though, it connected to on the 29th. No.
What about the 30th?
The 30th, no.
I apologize.
That should be-
Sorry, this is February. There wouldn't be a 29th last year. Okay, so the 28th. Then what about the 1st?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did it connect on the 1st?
It shows it did, yes, ma'am.
What about the 2nd?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the 4th?
No, ma'am.
What about the 5th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At what time does it connect on the 5th?
The 5th. It shows the time to be 8:10 p.m. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say that. That says unknown on it. I'm sorry, it does not show on the 5th. I'm sorry. Well, hold on, let me make sure. I cannot say on the 5th. It doesn't show Porsche on the 5th, no ma'am.
What about the 6th?
It does not show Porsche on the 6th, no ma'am.
And what about the 7th?
It does show a connection on the 7th for a Porsche, yes ma'am.
At what times?
9:46 a.m.
6. Any other times?
10:59 a.m. 1:29 p.m.
Okay. No further questions.
Give me just a second.
Thank you.
Bex, if you're still here, stay safe. Apparently, there's been a suspect killed in shooting involving officer in Gainesville, Georgia.
Okay, just want to ask you some questions specifically about 199S, the Bluetooth connectivity report.
Yes, sir.
When did you run this report to get the document that we have here for 199S?
Would have been Friday of last week.
Friday of last week.
I believe so, yes.
You got the phone, correct me, or you did the first Celebrite search. A search of a phone is called a Celebrite.
That's the software.
That was March 17th back in 2025.
Yes, sir.
And last Friday, which would have been, if you know the date, great, but if
It
you
was the 13th.
the 13th, almost a year later.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so last Friday you do the search for the Bluetooth to see, basically, in essence, does this phone connect to various devices over some relevant date period?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so the members of the jury understand everybody probably has Bluetooth. A lot of people have it in their cars, but I want to make sure everybody knows exactly what's going on when we get a response in the Bluetooth report, what it means and what it doesn't. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If a person has a phone and their phone in their car, let's say, turns on, they hit the button and doesn't mean the car starts. It means the car turns on.
The power's on, yes.
The power's on. The phone is, if it's close enough, it can sync into that vehicle. It Bluetooths in.
I believe so, yes.
Right. So, in other words, somebody can have a car in any place. As long as that phone is close and the power's on, it's going to have a hit.
Good, yes.
And the dates that you've got related to the Porsche, to be abundantly clear, we're talking about 2/28, 25, right?
Yes, sir.
28, 25. That's horrible. I'm sorry. Is that better? I made it worse. All right, I'm not going to do it again. Okay. 2/28, 25. Then we've got, there is no such thing as 2/29.
There's not.
Okay. Because it's the last month, the last day of the month in February is the 28th, unless it's a leap year.
I don't
Right?
believe it was.
Okay. Then we have, I think you said 3/1. Let's see if we can find 3/1. That's on page 15, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which is the very next day, right?
Should be.
And then we got 3/2, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then we have 3/3 as well, right?
Correct.
And we also have 3-4, right? Is there a 3-4?
Hold on one second. No, sir.
Okay, it stops at 3-3. We have a 4-day, before the break, I guess you could say, we've got a 4-day connectivity period,
Yes, sir.
right? That means that the button at least is turned on for the Porsche. Doesn't mean it's driving, just means the button's turned on, right?
Correct.
Phone's close enough to it to pair.
I would say so, yes.
And then we have a break until, oh, by the way, after 3-3, what we see is the Bluetooth is actually, the phone is actually pairing to another vehicle. You see that?
I see that it's pairing to something. I don't know if I could say it was a vehicle or not.
Okay. It's pairing to something after 3-3. It actually even starts on 3-3 at about 3:58 p.m. You see that on page 25?
Yes, it would be at 3:58 p.m. on the 3rd.
3:58 p.m. on 3-3, it starts pairing to something else. You can't say if it
doesn't have a name. It's just a bunch of numbers, letters.
it's not as descriptive as Porsche for the other ones, right?
Correct.
It's a bunch of numbers, but could be a vehicle. Fair enough.
Could be anything that's able to connect Bluetooth.
Okay. And then it's got several pages of pairing to that same device, would seem. See that on 3.5 and 3.6. Going into page 27.
I'm sorry.
You see the
Yes,
phone?
it connecting to some device between those dates.
3.4, 3.5, 3.6.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pairing to something else, and then on 3/7 at 2 p.m. Well, at 9:48 a.m. Right, bottom of page 27.
9:46, I believe it is.
9:46 a.m. on 3/7.
Yes.
It pairs the Porsche.
Yes, sir.
Have you undertaken an investigation of the phone we're talking about here, the blue phone, by looking at the texts that Ms. Mericle was sending on these dates?
The contents of the text messages?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, tell me about that.
I did not go physically through the phone and read text messages.
Okay. Have you not been asked to kind of try to nail down some dates, figure out where she was, who she was with, any of that stuff?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So as you sit here today, you don't know how to match any of this stuff up by looking at the text.
I know how, yes, but I did not do that.
You have not done it?
No.
Okay. I want to ask you about another report that you ran. First witness?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 8. If you could take a look at that report, see if you recognize it. Let's see your name.
Yeah. Appears to be the report for the extraction of the cell phone.
One of the extraction reports that you ran way back in
March the 17th of 2025.
about a year ago.
Yes, sir.
Does that appear to be a true and accurate copy of your report?
I believe so, yes.
Move to tender Defendant's Exhibit 8.
Objections.
Admitted.
to have you just take a look, if you could. I'm sorry.
Lawyers have free reign.
Thank you. Those text messages. Familiarize yourself with it. Permission to publish Defendant's Exhibit 8.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see this too good. I'll zoom in for you if you can.
Okay.
You'd agree this appears to be a text message from a gentleman named Charlie English to Suzanne Mericle, dated March 7th, 2025 at 9:44 p.m.
Yes, sir.
And it says, reacted to, you two sleep well.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And everybody knows this too, but when somebody else has sent you a text and you are giving a thumbs up or a heart or a like or whatever, it'll show up as reacted to that message.
That's correct.
And this message, again, 9:44 p.m. on March the 7th. At 9:46 p.m. on March 7th, 2025, Ms. Mericle sent the message to him, "What would you do to me if I was next to you?" Correct?
Yes, sir.
And this message has not been deleted by Ms. Mericle because it doesn't have the notation deleted by user,
Yes, it would appear it has not been deleted.
meaning that if somebody gets possession of her telephone and they know how to get into the phone or have a passcode or whatever, they'd be able to find that message.
They could, yes.
And of course, this next message is March 8th, 8:58 a.m. This is after everything's already taken place. And she's been arrested. Did you examine, if the answer is no, because I think I understand that your answer is no, did you examine any text at all between Ms. Mericle and anybody else?
No, sir. Not for content.
Thank you.
I just have a few follow-up questions about the report. Specifically about the devices the ones that weren't the Porsches.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get it back.
Okay, so I believe it starts on page,
25.
thank you, 25. Okay, so compare, I guess there's a box 193 and 194.
Yes, ma'am.
Are those the same devices?
It would appear they were not different device names, different
Okay.
numbers and letters.
So it's two separate devices and DID. Compare, okay, so 193 ends in F666, 194 ends in CD1D. Compare those to 202.
202 is different as well.
Okay. Okay, so is it safe to say those are three different devices?
Yes, ma'am.
And those devices, could they be a vehicle?
They could.
But could they also be headsets, a set of speakers?
They could.
No further questions.
Nothing further from the minutes.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, Judge.
You're excused. Thank you for your testimony. Call your next witness.
They called Officer Brandon Melton.
He left them on stand. I'm just going to overlap. He left the reports on the stand. Yeah. Okay.
If you could, officer, raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you'll give the court the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You can take a seat. Would you go ahead and state your name?
Brandon Melton,
And how are you employed?
Glenn County Police Department,
Where's Glenn County?
Brunswick, Georgia.
And would that be St. Simon's Island?
St. Simon's is in our jurisdiction, yes.
Okay. How long have you been working for Glenn County?
April will make my second year.
So you started April of 2024?
Correct.
And what's your role in Glenn County? Are you patrol, investigation, something
Patrol
else?
officer.
Patrol. Officer, were you working on February 1st, 2025?
I was,
And did you respond to an incident at 1015 Beachview Drive on
I
that
did.
day?
yes.
What kind of incident were you responding to?
It was a third-party reported possible domestic. So basically what that means is someone residing inside the condos heard a disturbance from another room, called police because they were concerned.
At that point, when you responded to the scene, did you have any information as far as like what the disturbance was, what the domestic could be, or just that it was a third-party report of a possible domestic?
Yeah, the third-party just reported that he heard yelling coming from a room above his.
Okay. So what happened when you got on scene?
Initially, myself and another officer made our way to room 305. We could hear some loud talking. Knocked on the door, introduced myself as Glenn County Police Officer. A white female identified as Miss Mericle opened the door. I'm supposing boyfriend would be the correct term to use. Mr. Barron was standing behind her. We told her, a little quick synopsis that someone had called for hearing a disturbance and we were just there to check it out. Initially, she told me that everything was fine. She didn't need cops. And I could tell on her face that she had been crying. She looked emotionally upset. So I asked her again, if everything was fine, because I was finding doubt in, her statement. She told me everything was fine again. And then at that point, since Mr. Barron was right behind her, our typical protocol when you're responding to potential domestics is to separate the parties. So I had her step outside of her apartment. We closed the door and I asked her again, what was going on. And she told me everything was fine. But just a few seconds after that, she kind of started crying more emotionally and became more upset. I do remember noticing that her cheeks were pretty red. At the time, I was concerned that could have been, potential pressure marks or something. As it turned out later in my investigation, it was just from excessive rubbing from crying. But back to that main topic, she stated several times that everything was okay, but then obviously things wasn't okay. So I told her, obviously things are not okay. You're upset, you're emotional, you're crying. I can see that you've been crying for a few moments just from your demeanor. And she opened up and grabbed my hand and put it to the back of her head. Instantly upon touching her head, she had a large contusion on pretty much center of the back of her head.
And I don't mean to interrupt. So while you're having this conversation with her, you said that there was another officer with you?
Yes.
Where was he?
He was standing to the right of me on the outside of the door at that moment.
And at any point, do you and the other officer separate?
Yes. Just as soon as the contusion was located on her, a few seconds later, he went ahead and stepped inside to start talking to Mr. Barron, typical protocol.
So he's inside talking to Mr. Barron and you're outside talking to Ms. Mericle.
Correct.
So she, you notice a bump on her head. Did she indicate how she got that bump?
Yeah, she told me that she had slipped and fell.
And did she say how she fell?
Again, she was very emotional. So it took several times of me asking her, how'd you get the bump? I asked her, was she hit? If Mr. Barron had hit her, if anything had hit her in the head, because it was a huge, huge bump, probably the size of a softball. It filled up the palm of my hand. Nothing that was just, you bumped your head on something lightly. And eventually she told me that she was standing on the inside of the door, preventing Mr. Barron from coming in. The time that she went to walk away from the door, he shoved the door. She was holding her purse and a to-go bag from a restaurant that they had just left from. And she slipped on the tile floor, fell backwards and struck her head on the floor, which is why she ended up getting that. I apologize. That was an alarm. May I take a second to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yes, please.
Because it is on silent except for an alarm. I apologize. That will not happen again.
No worries.
So back in February of 2025, you had said that you started at Glenn County in April of 2024.
Yes.
And so this was February of 2025. So from April 24 to February 25, is that how long you've been in law enforcement at that point?
Correct.
Were you, had you already gone through all of your field training or were you still in active field training at that point?
I was in active field training.
So you were in field training at the time of February 2025. the officer that was with you, what was his name?
Officer Wooten.
And was Officer Wooten there for any particular reason as far as your training, or are you guys just partners? Like, what was the reason for him being with you?
He was my field training officer.
Okay, so Officer Wooten was your field training officer, and then you were in field training.
Correct.
So she says that she's trying to keep him from coming in, and then she falls and hits her head. Did you ever do any, I guess, follow-up investigation, if you will, to try and confirm the story that she gave you about how she injured her head?
We did not.
Did you go inside the residence at all?
Yes, after my investigation with her, me and her stepped back inside. Well, I stepped back inside with Officer Wooten to consult with him to see what was going on, and she stepped in with me.
Did you know anything about, like, she mentioned to you that the floor was slippery, or that there's something that she slipped on and fell? I think you would testify to. Did you know anything on the floor that was slippery that she fell on?
Yes, one of the tiles directly in line with the door did have some kind of slippery residue on it. Later upon reviewing our body camera footage, there was spilt food that was in the to-go box that Mr. Barron had cleaned up prior to me entering.
And did you, what did she note that she hit her head on, like the floor or some other surface?
Yeah, she said that she fell directly backwards and struck her head on the tile floor.
And did you call for her to receive medical treatment for the bump on her head?
I did.
And did EMS or somebody come in and provide medical treatment for her?
They did. They assessed it. They offered to transport her to the hospital, and she refused.
Did she ever indicate you that Mr. Barron had physically, like, assaulted her that night?
Actually, while we were outside separated from Mr. Barron and Officer Wooten, she stated to me multiple times that he was a great guy. He had never hit her. Then she brought up a prior ex-boyfriend.
And so moving on from that, so while you were speaking with Ms. Mericle, I think you had stated that Officer Wooten was speaking with Mr. Barron.
Correct.
Did you ever have the opportunity to, I guess, also witness Mr. Barron and his demeanor that night?
I did, when me and Ms. Mericle stepped inside.
And what was his demeanor that night?
He was very calm and collected. Several times, Ms. Mericle would get more upset, and then he would speak out to her and try to coax her and calm her back down. But during the entire investigation there, he was calm and collected. He didn't seem aggressive. There's no anger that I could detect with him.
Was anybody arrested for the incident that occurred that night?
They were not.
How did you ultimately make that determination not to arrest anybody?
Based on Ms. Miracle's statement to me separated from Mr. Barron, and Mr. Barron's statement to Officer Wooten separated from Ms. Mericle, when me and Officer Wooten consulted, basically they give both of us almost mirror stories of the incident. It was called in from a third party, so that kind of eliminated the process that they knew that we were coming, so they didn't have time to collaborate the story to our knowledge. And based on that, Mr. Barron's demeanor, Ms. Miracle's demeanor, there was no primary aggressor. And at that point, we just had to go off the facts and circumstances and their statements. Their statements were, it was a simple accident. He pushed the door. She didn't move in time. She slipped and fell, hit her head.
How many domestic violence incidents would you say that you've responded to as a patrol officer?
Since then, or during that time?
Let's say since then, since you started in law enforcement to now, about how many domestic violence incidents would you say you've responded to?
Probably 50 or more.
Of those times that you've responded to domestic violence incident, has there ever been a time where the alleged victim of that incident basically indicated to you that everything was fine, nothing happened, but it was clear to you that something had happened?
Yes.
Is that something that you've seen before, where someone might be clearly physically injured but insists that they're fine and nothing ever happened to them?
Well, each domestic has its own set of circumstances, but yes, it's definitely something that happens a lot. Not, again, each one of them is different, so it's hard to compare one to the next, but it is a fact of circumstances that does happen.
And in those situations where that's happened, where a victim has basically adamantly denied being physically abused, have you ever arrested anyone in those situations?
I have.
And even though the victim said nothing happened and I'm fine, you still ended up determining that there needed to be arrest in those situations?
Correct.
What was different about those situations versus the situation you responded to with Ms. Mericle and Mr. Barron on the night of February 1st?
The circumstances that deviated from Ms. Mericle and Mr. Barron was normally when you separate the parties and you question each other and then you come back and you restage your questions, you can usually see their demeanor has changed. Most of the time when they're coming up with an elaborate story, there's little tails that you catch, so you ask them one way and then you come back and you ask them another way. And somewhere in that story, if it's not 100% honest, usually you can detect where they're being dishonest. Sometimes when you're talking to them, the primary aggressor will get reamped up again and show you signs that they're the ones that actually couldn't let things go. With Mr. Barron and Ms. Mericle, that's not the case. Again, outside when Ms. Barron separated from Mr. Barron, Ms. Mericle separated from Mr. Barron, or he could not hear anything she was saying. She continued to tell me that he was a great guy. He never hit her, that she didn't want him to leave from the apartment when I asked if she wanted him to go, anything like that. And again, Mr. Barron didn't show any signs of aggression when I spoke with him, and Officer Wooten, when we consulted, didn't see any while he was talking to him separated.
And have you ever responded to an incident that was a domestic where a female was arrested?
Yes.
After ultimately making the decision, I guess first with EMS, once Ms. Mericle declined to be transported to the hospital, do EMS just leave at that point?
Well, she signs a waiver stating, for their files that she's not receiving medical attention, and then they cleared up from the scene and left.
And then after you made the determination that let me ask you, when you were making the determination whether or not to make any arrests that night, did you consult with Officer Wooten, your field training supervisor?
Yes.
Once you both made that decision not to arrest anyone that night, do you ultimately just leave the scene at some point?
We did. We did stay back just a little bit as she was telling us details that wasn't about that particular incident. She was basically telling us about a prior boyfriend and the situation there.
And did you ever respond back to that condo like the next day, for example?
I never went back to that residence.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
No questions. No questions. May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony. You're excused.
I'm surprised there's no questions there, to be quite honest, because I thought it'd be like, well, I don't know, they know better. I'm surprised. And the prosecution's trying to get ahead of it, like, so if she was really abused, then you would have arrested him. I mean, let's not try and downplay domestic violence.
Thank you.
State calls Officer Christopher Wooten.
In the interim, with the lawyer's approach, please.
Yes.
So we know it happened in the bedroom. So I've just gone back, and I've just been looking at some of the summaries, and I've actually gone back to a site that gives us a summary. So so the prosecutors in opening statement said that Barron retreated, so the victim retreated upstairs to the bedroom and locked the door. So it's the bedroom door that's locked, and that she came after him and fired her Glock 9mm through the door. And then the prosecutors say that she then went into damage control mode rather than deliver any first aid to the victim. Allegedly, she grabbed Barron's Beretta firearm and placed it by his hand and fired 2 to 3 shots from the weapon. Bagewell also said that Mericle admitted to police that she flushed several rounds down the toilet before officers arrived. But the defense is saying that so the defense is saying that the victim, Barron, sexually assaulted the defendant before taking away her phone and the keys to the only functioning car before retreating to the bedroom. While the defense conceded that Mericle fired a shot through the door, they said she was trying to break the lock so she could get her phone. And then responding to allegations that Mericle tried to stage the scene with Barros's Beretta, Willis said that the 2 shots fired from that weapon were suicide attempts. So it wasn't in the bath, it was in the bedroom, it was. So, but like, I don't know what that looks like. Chuck Norris passed away. Oh, shit. R.I.P. Chuck Norris. hang on, but I thought from looking, but then showing the bathroom earlier confused me. I know it's a little bit because we can't see, but she allegedly she flushed some stuff down the toilet, so maybe that's what they're doing is showing the blood in there. But they never tested. That's the thing. They never tested his hands for GSR. They never. Well, the people who have testified so far haven't. So they protected his hands, but no one tested it. So far, no one's looked at the phone instructions. And then they're saying that she was in the car, but we don't know if. Oh, there's so many things here up in the air. I don't know. So, Dave, take a look at my new videos on the other channel as well when you get a chance later on. You're probably correct to learn about her allegedly flushing it, but that's what the prosecutor's saying, that she admitted to that. But like, I don't know. Hey, Crystal, lovely. After the limp wrist, but forgot to log out from here. However, I'm here now. Did I miss anything? You just missed a lot of bullshit, really. There's a lack of investigation happened in this case. Now, it's not to say that others didn't investigate these things, but they never took, or so far, no one's took any tests on the hands of the victim, so we don't know if he shot his gun or didn't shoot his gun, so we don't know because they never tested it, and no one so far has gone through her phone, and also they don't know what her phone connected to, what it didn't connect to. I think the prosecution are saying it connected to the car and never connected to anything else, but I don't have a clue. I don't think they know fully. I'm very surprised. Also, they just called a witness to testify that previously police have been to the household where they were called there because of a domestic abuse. Well, there was a loud noise and neighbours called for disturbance, and she opened the door crying and was very, in shock. She had a bump on her head and stuff, and then she said that it wasn't him. He was, he didn't do it, blah, 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 as victims do. And the prosecutor said, oh, if you thought that he did assault her, you would have arrested her. And he was like, yes. And have you arrested people in the past for doing similar things? Yes. So essentially saying she wasn't a domestic, she wasn't abused, essentially, is what they're trying to say. So yeah, this is what TV does. But they're trying to say this is normal. As in, if she was really a domestic domestic violence victim, you would have arrested him, blah, blah, all that. It's like bullshit. That's bullshit. No proper investigation was done. Well, not so far anyway. So we got a little bit left, so let's go in. Sounds like a Bex issue, another Georgia state issue. GBI is known to suck. Don't say suck after we've been talking about limp wrists and thrusting and hard pullbacks and pushing and all that. I know, right, Crystal? Shocking being another Georgia trial.
She ever indicate to you that what kinds of things are you, I guess first let me ask you this, how many domestic violence incidents would you say that you've responded
Here we go, another one to say domestic violence in, all right.
to throughout your time in law enforcement? Rough estimate.
100 or more.
100 or more?
Hard to say.
Of those 100 or more times, were there times where you would respond to a domestic and end up not arresting anyone for a domestic?
A lot of time calls will come out as a domestic and it turns out that they are not. That's why we investigate on scene.
So what kinds of things are you looking for to determine whether or not, when you're responding to a call that says we've got a call for a possible domestic, what kinds of things are you looking for to ultimately make that decision whether or not an arrest needs to be made?
Ultimately, if there's a crime that's been committed, an act of violence.
Right. So what helps you make that determination about whether or not
Physical evidence on scene, their testimonial on scene, their statements made to us.
Have you ever arrested a female who's the abuser in a domestic incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Ms. Mericle ever indicate to you that she had been physically abused by Mr. Barron that night?
No.
Did she ever indicate to you that Mr. Barron had ever physically abused her?
No, she stated that he has never struck her.
And did she say what they were fighting about that night?
She mainly spoke to Officer Melton on that. I just got the story from Mr. Barron when I spoke to him inside.
Okay.
Because she stayed outside with Officer Melton.
Are you aware of what they were fighting about that night?
An argument over one of his previous relationships that apparently had not been broken off yet.
While you were speaking with Mr. Barron inside, what was his demeanor like?
He was very calm.
Did he ever get angry, irate? Did he ever like yell or have any aggressive body language, anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Ultimately, what helped you and Officer Melton determine that there did not need to be an arrest made that night from that incident?
Well, whenever we arrived on scene, they had no idea that we were coming. They didn't know who called. And we immediately separated them, and they were separated until we had spoke to both of them. So there was no time for them to corroborate a story or anything like that. And they both gave us pretty much the identical story about what had occurred.
And what was your understanding of what had occurred that night?
That they had went out to dinner, gotten into an argument, and the argument carried on to her condo. And whenever they got there, he stated he was going to go in and get his suitcase and leave. But whenever they got there, she would not let him in. So when he pushed the door open, she was still on the other side of it, and she fell down.
Did EMS arrive on scene that night?
She had an injury to her head, so Officer Melton did call for a squad to come check on her.
And ultimately, did they leave without transporting her to the hospital?
Yeah, she signed a refusal.
If somebody decides that they want EMS to come back, that they want to be transported to the hospital, how, like if I'm at my home and I'm injured and I want for EMS to come help me, do I have to call 911 for that to happen? Do you know?
You call emergency service and request one, yes, ma'am.
Do you know if emergency service was ever called back to that residence that night or the next day?
When I checked into that, no one else had come back, and myself and Officer Melton didn't respond back to the residence after our initial.
So neither one, you or Officer Melton, responded back to that residence after you responded the night of February 1st, 2025?
To my knowledge, no one else, including us, went back out there.
So you're telling me just because no one responded back there that nothing happened, not the fact that maybe he sat down and said, you fucking call the police or you tell anyone about this, I'm going to fucking kill you. Is that maybe something that would deter her from phoning the police? Maybe just thinking out there. Maybe there are ways for him to coerce her not to get a police or EMT out there to help her because she truly believes that he would unalive her. Maybe I'm just speculating, but maybe that could be a reason, potentially.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Questions?
Thank you for your testimony. You're excused.
Thank you, sir.
I'm so surprised that there are no questions from the defense unless they're going to bring in their own experts.
State calls Beth Barron.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you so much. Have a seat, adjust the microphone, speak into the microphone. Thank you. For the purposes of the record, please state your full legal name.
Beth Gregory Barron.
Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Barron.
Hello.
They have to, right, Lady Di? They have to bring an expert. Otherwise, it makes no sense that they're just letting these people just walk away.
How do you know James David Barron?
How do I know James David Barron?
Do you know him?
I do.
How do you know him?
He was my husband for 22 years.
So you were married for 22 years. How long were you dating prior to getting married?
A few years. 2 years.
So how long do you think in total you were with Mr. Barron?
25 years.
Did you have any kids as a result of that marriage?
I did. I have two boys, Evan and Colt.
Evan and Colt. That was going to be my next question.
And 5 grandchildren.
Would you be able to state the ages of your grandkids?
Ooh, ages. One is 2 days old.
2 days old.
One is 3 months old.
3 months old.
I have twins that are 4.
Okay.
And Maddie is 2.
Got it. So after your divorce with David, did you two remain friends?
We did. Yeah, we were good friends.
Did you remain friends all the way up until his death?
We did. We were.
And had you ever met Suzanne Mericle, the defendant in this case?
I have.
How many times would you say you've met her?
We met 3 times, 3 different times.
Were they just like random meetings? Were there occasions kind of coupled with those meetings?
Yeah. One was a birthday party, and the other was at my brother's memorial golf tournament, and then at Thanksgiving.
And how did that go? The times that you met Miss Mericle, like, was there any animosity? Did you guys get along well?
Yeah, we were fine.
And did you two ever communicate outside of the times that you had been as a family together in person?
We did. Yeah.
Was it normal for her to like just reach out to you and be like, hey, how's it going? How are you? Anything like that?
She reached out to send some pictures through a text of my brother's golf tournament. She also texted and called me a few times.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as what states 199E. You could just take a look at this.
Okay.
Have you seen what states 199E is before?
Yes, I have.
Are those either phone calls or text messages between you and Miss Mericle?
They are.
Okay. And Judge, at this point, I would tender states 199E into evidence.
No further objection to 199E. Admitted.
Permission to publish, Judge?
Yes.
Did Miss Mericle call you on the night of December 28th, 2024?
She did.
Do you remember what time it was?
I've written in my notes 8:49.
PM or AM?
PM.
What was her demeanor like when she called you?
She was, her demeanor was, she was inquiring. She was, normal. I can't say anything.
Was she like upset, happy, laughing, crying, something different?
Somewhere in between.
Okay. I'm going to show you states 199E. Did she also text you at any point?
She did.
What did she say to you on that phone call on December 28th of 2024?
She was inquiring about some women that she had found David texting.
Who were the women that she had found David texting?
She was asking about Laura.
Who's Laura?
Laura is David's second wife.
Okay.
Laura Barron. Yeah.
Anybody else?
And then she also asked about Lilia.
Who's Lilia?
At that point, I didn't know. I really don't know anything about Lilia.
So had you ever heard that name before the night that the defendant called you?
The first night, no, I had not.
What was she asking you specifically about Lilia? What was she asking you on the phone about that?
On December 28th, she was asking, did I know her? Who was she? Had I ever heard of her? Just, questioning, did I know her? And I did not at that point.
Did she mention to you an argument between her and David at all? Like a physical argument or anything from that night?
Not on December 28th, no.
Did you end up hearing that whether or not there had been some sort of argument that night later on?
At that point, I did not know that.
What about later on? Did you ever find out if there was or wasn't some sort of argument that night?
Later, I found out that there was.
I'm going to go through. So that was December 28th that she called you. I'm going to go. Whoop. So now, do you see where my mouse is right here for February 3rd, 2025?
Yes.
This is from, so this is February 3rd, 2025 at 9:19 p.m. If you could read this message right here from Suzanne.
Okay, this is from Suzanne. Hey there. Hope you are doing well. Have you spoken with Evan lately?
And then is the next message your response?
And I said, yes, is everything okay?
And what does she say in response to that?
That unfortunately, I have found out several things about David that are shocking. I am trying so hard to digest this. I have included your sons. I hated to, but someone needs to intervene.
And then does she text you again?
Yes.
Right below that, if you wouldn't mind reading that.
And she said, you have all been so gracious and loving to me. I am having a hard time.
So, and then at the bottom of this page is your response, if you could read that.
Well, as a mom, I try to protect my boys from the bad, as I'm sure you would with your kids. Please go easy with them.
So now moving on to page 2 of the exhibit. We're still on February 3rd at 9:24 p.m. You text again. What do you say there?
I said, I say this in the most loving way to you.
And then what if, I think she has the next, the rest of these are all her, if you could read those.
Yes. And then she said, I guess responding to my, when I said go easy on them, she said, I am. And then she said, can you talk?
And then right there, it looks like it says loved. Is that like
That was like a heart.
like a heart
emoji.
on your message? And then what does she say there?
And she said, they need your guidance.
And then what does she say below that?
And she said, that is why I'm reaching out to you.
So then I'm just going to slide down some. So then right back, you respond with this, if you wouldn't mind reading
Yeah,
that.
please just text me for now and I can talk tomorrow.
And then she responds what?
And then she said, you know David and you love your boys.
And then what do you say back?
I said, tell me what I can do to help David.
And then she says we can talk tomorrow, right?
Yes.
And then what did you say back to that?
Okay, I'll call you and you can let me know if it's convenient.
So that was at 9:27 p.m. You had established, okay, we're going to talk tomorrow.
Right.
Then less than 20 seconds later, she continues the conversation. What does she say there?
She said, he has been living a separate life with a woman.
And then what do you say in response?
And then I said, is David living at the house?
And she says, yes. Is that her?
And she said, yes.
Okay. I'm going to go on to page 3. Now we're at 9:27 on that same day. You say,
And I said, oh no, but I think that was in response to a prior text.
okay. So then she has the next 2 messages, if you could read
Yep.
those.
He has been sending her money and communicating with her constantly for years.
And then you ask her a question. What do you ask
And I
her?
said, are you trying to work things out or is it too much?
And then she says what in
She said,
response?
please keep this between us. He became so angry with me when I contacted you and Evan, last time this happened. But my gut, and I don't know that she finished that sentence.
So when she says he became so angry with me when I contacted you and Evan last time, do you believe she's referring to the December 28th incident?
Yes.
Is that the only other time that she contacted
Yes.
both you and Evan about this? Or
That's
at least that you know of?
For me, yes, just for
Okay.
me. Yeah.
So then what do you say right there?
I said, I have not talked to David at all since we talked.
And then what does she say back?
I love him so much. He is everything to me. I am so hurt.
And then you say what?
And then I said, there is hope.
And then she has the next 2 messages, if you could read those.
I honestly do not know. He will not talk. I found out he is taking care of her and her daughter, thousands of dollars each month. And then I said, oh my gosh.
And then she says, I know, crazy, right?
Yep.
And then what do you say back?
And I said, my kid's inheritance.
And then what do you say again?
And I said, just kidding, but not really.
Let me ask you before I continue reading. Once the family found out about David sending money to this Lilia, were you happy about the news?
No, not at all.
And as far as you could tell, were your kids happy with the news?
No.
So then Suzanne replies at 9:33 and says, what?
Let's see. Grandchildren's College Fund. Yes. And then I said, why can't he break away from her? What does she have over him?
And then she responds at 9:34. What did she
I
say?
put so much money in the house. He said he did not have it.
And then what did you say
I said,
back?
well, I guess he does.
And then what do you say? I think the next couple are you.
Yeah. Why would he do that? That's beyond me.
And then she replies, what?
She said, I don't know. I am baffled and he will not talk.
So then you say, so he admitted it at 9:35. And what does she say back?
She said, I thought your boys should know.
Then what does she say at the bottom of page 4?
Then Evan saw an invoice a few years ago on his desk. He confronted David.
And at the top of page 5, we can see that she liked your, so he admitted it.
Mhm.
And then what do you say back?
And then I said, how old is her daughter?
And then what does she say?
Then she said, they are on Facebook. And then she is 21.
And then what was your response?
And then I said, oh gosh. And this is terrible for me to say, but I said, is the mom Euro trash?
And so we can see that below that at 9:48 on February 3rd, she sends you 2 links. I'm going to try and zoom in. Do you remember what this was?
One was a picture of Lilia.
Is this like a Facebook page?
It is her Facebook page.
So she's sending you screen captures of these people's Facebooks. So one is Lilia. Who's the other one?
And the other is her daughter.
Daughter. Okay. So I'm going to, try and zoom in. So that's like a screen capture of the Facebook.
Right.
Okay. So then what do you say back at
And I said,
9:49?
wow, they are pretty.
And then you said, so weird.
Weird.
And then what do you say again?
And then I said, so did David say he would stop with the money and communication?
And what does Suzanne say?
Suzanne, I guess, replied to the above, gorgeous. You think she is not dating others?
And then top of page 6, she replies again.
I am so shocked. What does she have?
And then what do you
And
say?
then I said, I don't know. I'll call you tomorrow.
And then does Suzanne just love that, your message?
Yep.
And then what does she say below that?
She said, I am praying for us.
And then the next 2 messages, if you could read those.
I said, you have to know we all are. And then I said, we love you.
And then what does she say back?
Said, I know I've fallen in love with all of you. You have an amazing family, like my children.
And that is the bottom of that. So at the time when you were getting those messages from Suzanne, what was going through your head What was going through your head when she's texting you all this information about Lillian?
I really didn't want to get involved. I wanted to stay out of it. I wanted my boys to stay out of it. It started sounding a little spicy to me, and I just did not want to go much further.
Of the times that, did she ever, after that texting conversation that you had with her, did she ever reach out to you again about Lilia at all that you remember? Like over phone or maybe even in person?
No.
Did she ever confide in you that David had been physically abusive to her?
No.
Did she ever mention any sort of like emotional abuse or controlling behavior from David?
No.
Did she ever ask you about physical abuse at all in terms of David?
No.
Don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Good questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Your excuse. What do you have?
That's all that the state has today as far as witnesses, Judge.
All right, folks, what we're going to do, we're going to conclude with your time early today.
So there you go. They done for the day. They were done for the day. That was a bit longer than I thought it would be. We're still doing a 3 and an hour, 20 minutes. I know I'm very shocked with the defense not asking anything. I suspect they just think, well, what are we going to ask? There's nothing to ask. And as Lady Di says, they have to bring in their own experts or something. So, because this makes no sense, so they're not going to ask anything. Unless they're just like, well, what are we going to elicit from her? Because essentially, what they're going to ask their own experts are things like, is it common for DV victims to inform all their friends about being abused? The answer to that is probably going to be no. So it's not uncommon that she wouldn't know anything about it happening. Is it common for DV victims to not phone for EMSs and stuff like that and to protect their loved ones? Yes. Is it common for DV victims to give praise to their loved ones in public? Yes, I imagine. So, and that's what the expert probably do to negate everything that they've just said here. And I imagine they could bring an expert to quash what the officer said about that, you know, just because it doesn't look like she's a DV victim doesn't mean she isn't. Do you know what I mean? You know, there's a bit of Ashley Benefield in this trial. Do you know what I mean? It feels like it. A lot of people don't like strippers, especially like grandmas too. So society thanks you better. Jonathan's a boy. Jobbathan, as we used to call him, Jobbathan. Jobbathan. Right, hang on. Let's play, if I can find it, because we've got the annoying ass in here. We've got Bex here, so let's see if I can do this. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie, put the Chevy. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie, put the Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys are drinking whiskey and wine. I know, ballerina trial, you know, I know, lovely. Okay. Here we go. Let's watch this then. This is the same town as we're watching this trial. So this happened just for Bex and everyone else. So we're watching the trial from Gainesville, and this report has just come out about over an hour ago from the same place, Gainesville.
Test. Mic check. Test. What you need? Are you down there? No. Okay, no. Everybody good? All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning. My name is Justin Martin. I'm a captain with the Gainesville Police Department, one of the public information officers here. We're here this morning to hear from Chief Parrish regarding an incident that our officers were involved in this morning. You'll hear from Chief Parrish. And
just remind you, this happened today in Gainesville, so stay safe if you're from the area.
And then there will be some time for questions afterward. Captain Holbrook will keep us limited on some time. There's an active investigation going on, so we have to get back to that. He'll let you know when we're out of time for questions. And with that, Chief Parrish.
Hey, good morning. As Captain said, my name is Jay Parrish, Jayparrish. I am the Chief of the Gainesville Police Department. I'm joined with Sheriff Chris Matthews, as their team was also involved in this incident last night and into the early morning hours of this morning. We received a phone call last night about 10:30 from a lady stating that she was in fear for her life and she was involved in a domestic incident. She gave a description of the suspect and stated that he was armed. Our officers responded to the Sunset Heights subdivision and began to fan out and look for both the caller as well as the suspect. Once we located the caller, she led us to a secondary residence from the first incident where she thought he may be. There was another family, a lady and two children inside that residence, and that homeowner indicated that the suspect had entered into her home. He was known to her, and she didn't know why he was entering, but he needed refuge, and he came in. She invited us into the residence. Our early officers went in, found him, at which time he presented a gun and shot and hit one of our officers. And I'll talk a little bit more about that strike in just a moment. Our officer returned gunfire while heroically two of our other officers went in and pulled the female and the two children to safety. The suspect tried to exit out the back of the residence where he engaged officers on the back and again got into gunfight with him. This was all before midnight. Everything indicated that the only person struck during that initial encounter was our officer. We then called for the SWAT team that's under the command of Sheriff Matthews. They responded to the scene as well as their negotiators. We had a phone number. We were able to establish contact with the suspect and had off and on negotiations that were somewhat erratic for about 3 hours. That escalated, and during that time, the suspect started shooting from inside the residence again. There was more gunfire. No one was struck. The SWAT team developed a plan. At this time, we had warrants, active warrants for him for aggravated assault in that first shooting of hitting our officer. And as the SWAT team encountered him, he retreated and tried to come out the front door. There was one SWAT operator and two Gainesville police officers in the front yard that he engaged in a lot of gunfire, and we returned gunfire, and sadly, he has succumbed to his injuries. No other deputies or officers were injured in that second round of gunfire. I want to talk about God's hand and the protection of our officers. You can see on the screen, our officer was wearing his two-way radio mic right here, and the bullet hit just below his throat into the radio mic and was caught by his ballistic vest. We will share pictures that I have on the screen with each of your outlets at the conclusion of this press conference. So our officer is okay. He was saved by both the mic and by our ballistic vest, and we are very thankful for that. This was a serious and very tragic incident. There were several deputies and several police officers that were involved in all three encounters. It's traumatic to them. My thoughts and prayers go out to the family of the deceased. It is not our job as law enforcement officers to take lives. Our job is to protect lives. But this morning, the early morning hours, our hand was forced. And my heart goes to his family, to the victims that were at the residence that were heroically rescued by our officers on scene. And then importantly, this is a healing process for our officers too. It's not what they come to work to do every day. And so I want to thank the community. I really want to thank the Sunset Heights neighborhood. Some of them probably didn't get much sleep last night, but they were very cordial to our teams that were out there, understood the gravity of what was going on. And it was just a great time that they helped us. So at this time, I'll take any questions that y'all may have.
Was there two other officers we heard in the hospital as well hurt in the active standoff for the shootout part?
Thank you for that question. So in the very first two, both of those officers that were involved in the shooting, one hit and the other one that returned fire, did go to the hospital, and it's protocol because of the traumatic heart rate and things like that. So did the second two later in the morning. So we did have 4 officers total go to the hospital. 2 of those, or 3 of those have been released. I'm not sure what the status of the 4th one is, other than they're ambulatory, but some of them were in shock after the incident.
It wasn't physical, like they weren't hurt during the...
Correct. It was all for shock, heart rate, and some of that internal trauma. Yeah.
Was the subdivision at any point ever evacuated? I know you said he was shooting from inside the home.
No, the home was secluded enough that we felt that it's down a hill and kind of in a valley that we didn't feel from where he was, and it's a brick structure that we were worried about secondary gunfire. We knew he was in the basement at the time before he retreated up to the front door, and so we felt like he was barricaded himself enough not to put others in danger.
Where did this start at that house? I've been out there where the squad vehicle ended. That was the house where it ended. You said it started.
So the caller was at a different house in the neighborhood, and unfortunately, I don't remember exactly what house that was, but he had fled that house prior to our. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
But she lives in the house that he retreated into?
Not the original caller.
Not the original.
Correct. Yes. You had a question, ma'am?
Is there a relationship between the original caller and the man?
She knew him. She knew his name, and was able to give us. So that would be a huge assumption. And I should have mentioned this. The GBI is handling all of that, and so some of the minutia of those details, I'm leaving up to them and just giving you the briefing as it was given to me.
But the original caller is not the same woman who was in the house?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. The original caller is not who was at the second house that we located him at.
You have any history there? I mean, call up, there's going to be some obviously domestic issue going on.
I don't know of that at this time. Again, I'll let the GBI dig that out, but I don't know personally of any call history that we've had it or have not had it in the past.
You said he was known to the woman who was in the second.
Right. Yes. It sounds like he knows both families in that neighborhood, and what the relationships are, I have no idea. We'll continue to dig in and try to figure that out.
And how many children?
I'm not sure where he lives. I will give you his name. It is Dakota Levi Simmons, and he's 24 years old, and he did have a Gainesville address, but I'm not sure the exact address.
And how many kids were in the house where this?
Yes, ma'am, there were 2 children in the house, and then their mother.
SIMMONS Simmons?
That's correct. SIMMONS Simmons. Dakota Levi Simmons.
Just verifying the timeline, but the mother, the 2 children, they were evacuated shortly after
the first round of shots, yes. Our officers went in while that shooting was going on to extract those.
During the standoff, there were no hostages or anything?
No, sir. No, sir.
And when the officer who was hit, was that inside of the house?
Yes, he was hit inside the house, and they were, so one set of officers evacuated him, the other set of officers evacuated the family, and the suspect tried to run out the back door where he engaged our 3rd officer. So just bruising. It did not penetrate. The vest did exactly what it's designed to do, and we're very thankful for that. 1 inch higher, we'd be having a very different press conference right now. Yes, sir. He's been released. That's correct. Yes, sir.
And when did she communicate to the dispatcher stating made her in fear of her life?
I don't have those details. That's something we'll dig into. But she did quote, "I am in fear of my life," and I'd have to go into the fine details of the call, and I haven't done that.
And you said that she said on the call that this
Correct, yes. Thank you for that. So all of their families have not been notified. We will get that to you in the next couple of hours via both the press release and our social media channels. I want to make sure their families knows what's going on before I release it through the media. So I've been police chief for 7 years now. And yes, we've had, I think this will be our 4th or 5th officer involved shooting since I've been police chief. Very tiring. I was, a lot of emotions, Ben. I was very hopeful when he engaged in negotiations that this would be a peaceful arrest. But as he became less and less and started firing from inside the residence, my fears came true that we would have to take a life to protect the rest of the neighborhood.
And what time did all of this?
About 5:30 a.m., roughly.
What's going through your mind when you actually finally saw that picture in the hospital?
Emotion. Could have been my guy. And what? And very thankful to God that he's saved.
SWAT that went into the house after?
Nobody made it in the second time. He came out into the yard and engaged us in fire when they were surrounded by the SWAT team. Yes, I think he was trying to run. He knew that there were officers at the back door, and I think, assuming he was trying to get out the front door to escape, and met both 2 of our officers and 1 SWAT operator, where he immediately engaged them in fire, and we had to return fire. Thank y'all for coming out. We will keep you updated via our social media, and I appreciate you covering the story, and thank you.
There you go. So that is everything on that one. That's us done for the day today. I know that Dave is going to go and watch the Hawaiian trial later on today. What time is that on, Dave? Let me have a look for those of you still looking for trials and stuff. The one Hawaii does look a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't cover that one, but it is what it is. Oh, it's not been loaded yet. Oh, it is. It's at, so that's 3:30 Eastern time. The day 2 of the Hawaiian murder plot trial starts. So that's when that's starting. And it does look like it's got better visuals and stuff like that. Right. Thank you, Sarah P. See you all Monday. Thank you, Bex. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, everyone. We will be back at 9 a.m. Eastern again, 8 a.m. Central on Monday. I hope the trial gets a little bit more. I'm struggling with this trial a little bit, so it's a little bit boring. Just a reminder for those of you that will go and watch Kelsey's beginning at some point on Monday. I'm going to watch that in my own time, so I can play like 2.0 speed and skip everything, skip all the things. But I will be watching it, I imagine, but at another time in the evenings, because I'm fed up with trials. I've got loads of breaks and all that, so I'd rather watch it after the fact. Dance for us. Right. Hopefully it is, Sarah P. I hope it is going to get more interesting. Dave, see you later, buddy, and you as well. Enjoy tonight in the movies. Lovely, and have a great weekend, and see you all on Monday. Enjoy yourselves. If you can't enjoy, then at least behave, or try and behave anyway. I know you can't behave, but